hello, and welcome back to Super Hell, aka the Mysteries Podcast, a show where two recovering Supernatural fans subject themselves to a rewatch so no one else ever has to watch Supernatural again. My name is Ollie. I use any pronouns, and you can find me on social media at Ollie Fresh. It's fresh with a PH.
And my name is Klaudia. My pronouns are she, her, and you can find me on social media at Klaudia Says, K-A-L-U-D-I-A Says.
Oh my gosh, guys, welcome. We're finally, getting into season 5. I feel like season 5 is finally good. Which is crazy, because there's, 4 episodes left in this season.
Well, every episode of our show, we go, it's so over, it's so back.
Yeah, it's literally the problem.
Both of these episodes are very, very plot-driven, so
yeah,
we're getting into the beat of it.
And not in, a shitty, oh my god, get over it way. In a way that's oh my god, they're finally doing something interesting.
Yeah.
This is so exciting. One thing I do want to say to everyone, Klaudia, I hope that you are enjoying monopolizing my time being here. Because just so everyone knows, we're recording this on March 28th, otherwise known as the release date of Lucy Dacus's new album, Forever is a Feeling. So obviously I've been locked in for that. I've been locked in. I had to work today, so I wasn't able to listen as much. I've only listened to it 3 or 4 times all the way through. And I anticipate listening to it a couple more times all the way through before the end of the day. So we need to get this shit going. But one thing I was thinking about, because I was listening to this album nonstop, and as we all know, many of us who are fandom inclined know, when you listen to an album or when you listen to music, what's the first thing you do when you hear a song?
Oh,
you hear a song, you hear a lyric, and you say, oh my god, this is about my blorbos. So I was thinking that I was looking at some lyrics from this album, and I was listening to the song Best Guess by Lucy Dacus, and I was just thinking about Destiel nonstop.
Oh,
and it's so dark. I think the lyric, here is the church, here is the steeple, you were looking for saints, but you only found people. Ain't that just the way it goes? I watch you fall from grace, you were graceful. After all, it's a small world, you may not be an angel, but you are my girl. You are my pack-a-day, you are my favorite place. You were my best friend before you were my best guess at the future.
Oh, God. And with the episode I just watched.
You are my best guess. If I were a gambling man, and I am, you'd be my best bet. I'm just saying,
holy
first
shit.
of all, if you don't know the lyrics to that song, it's an amazing song. I wish the music video was better. I think it's a fun concept, but there's no studs or fat bitches in it, and that low-key pissed me off, Lucy. Still love you, though, girl. But where are the studs?
But
I just, listen, here's the problem. I challenge everyone who's listening to this. I don't want you to send me, a million different things. I want you to find your one song that you're this is the song.
Yeah.
That is about my blorbos. And I think that we should make a playlist, an official Mystery Spotcast playlist.
The official Mystery Spotcast Destiel playlist?
I think it's Destiel, but I think that it could be any character from Supernatural. I feel like we're going to get a lot of Destiel, because that's just but if you want to send us some songs,
send it to our email or our Tumblr ass box.
Yeah.
Or our Blue Sky, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, so send that over. Just a song, but I don't want just you to say this whole song is them, even if it is. I want you to pick out a lyric and say, here's this lyric that is, this is so whoever. This is so, I want some Bobby songs on there, so if you have any Bobby songs, hit me up, but I would love for us to curate an official Mystery Spotcast fan playlist.
Yeah.
So if we could get into that, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Also, if someone could make an AMV of Destiel to that song.
Oh my god,
really
Destiel Best Guest edit to the bridge of Best Guess. Oh my god, it would be so fucking over for me. Also, I feel like as a lesbian, it is my job to promote any music from the members of Boy Genius. But specifically Lucy Dacus, because that's my bestie. And I will say, I have had conversations with her about the Best Guess music video. Don't worry, guys. I'm just kidding. I don't know her, but I feel like I do. Julian Baker also has new music out with Torres. It's like a queer country album.
Okay, we're really in our country era.
They've released a couple singles. I'm not sure when the album comes out. I apologize. I'm locked down for Lucy Dacus. I'm on Lucy watch. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure everyone knows how much you should appreciate the fact that I'm here and not and didn't blow this off to lock in to listen to the album a million times in a row.
That's crazy.
Anyway,
Well,
Claudia, do you have any lyrics that you think of? What's your lyric for today?
oh. I just guessed on this one. This one, okay. I'm just gonna send it to you because now I want your reaction.
Wait. Claudia has just sent me a song that she thinks is very Destiel coded. Let me open this bitch up. Oh my god.
One of the lyrics is, have you ever lost heaven? Fuck.
Oh, okay. It is Adam's Ribs by Jensen McRae.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. This song is crazy.
Loving you is in my bones when it's literally on his ribs. Let's talk about it.
Oh, fuck. Fuck. Okay. Okay, so I want, if I could have some of our beloved listeners, please send us some songs. I will make a Spotify playlist and I will add them as you send them. So please, we should make an official Mysteries Podcast account. Maybe I'll make it and then we'll make an actual Mysteries Podcast Spotify account and post it on there.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Next episode, we will explain how to get to
the
Spotify
We'll be
playlist.
linking to it in our show notes now.
Yeah.
When this episode comes up, it'll be out.
Yes, but I also want to make it clear. We may put a couple songs, but I want this to be mainly fan songs. Because if the two of us do it, we will add 1 million songs and it'll be unlistenable.
What are you talking about? 500
Girl.
songs? No.
Don't even play. Don't play.
It'll be our contributions and also the things that you guys send to us, and we'll vet them.
We'll vet them, and then maybe in the next episode we'll talk about them a little bit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love that.
So please do. Are we ready to talk about Supernatural?
Yeah, I'm ready to talk about these absolutely insane episodes of Supernatural.
And it pissed me off because it's tricking me into getting excited about Supernatural again because they're good. Probably because they're really Destiel heavy.
They're very Destiel heavy and they're very Cass heavy.
Yeah.
Lord.
I forgot Supernatural could be good.
I forgot Supernatural could be something other than Destiel.
Well, no, because you know what? Listen, well, I'll get there, but I'm like, Sam was low-key my favorite part of these episodes.
He kind of ate.
Which is crazy.
He has a couple lines that are so... Okay.
No, Sam, here's the problem. I feel like Sam is just there so much of the time. Like, shit is happening to him so much at a volume never before seen by human man.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so much shit is happening to him, it's hard for him to be a character.
Yeah.
At times. But now I'm like, okay, he's a person. He's coming into his own. Yeah. That's my princess.
So our first episode we're discussing today is season 5, episode 17, 99 Problems. The sickness that this show has with naming episodes after songs has to be studied. Stop. Get some help. It's funny a couple times, but
I gotta be like, I think, okay, and the reason it's called that is because it is the 99th episode of the show.
Oh, well. Well, they named it after the song, though. Because it's the 99th episode of the show.
Yeah, no. No, I know. I mean, it is based on the song.
They were just being funny, I guess.
Yeah, because I'm like, because the 99 Problems doesn't really match with the the vibes of the episode, but okay.
99th episode of the show, that means the next episode is the 100th episode we've talked about. Oh, fuck, that's crazy.
Oh, my lord.
Okay. Okay. That's insane. Don't worry, guys. Like 400 more to go.
Yeah, guys, we can do it. Stay strong.
I'm not. Okay. So we start with the Winchesters. They're in the Impala. They are flying down a road. They look all beaten up. I think Sam's bleeding out. Demons are chasing them down a road. And Sam's like, girl, you need to drive faster. And suddenly there's like a ton of fire. There's a barricade, and Dean's like, fuck, I have to hit the brakes. And they stop. The demons try to like drag them out of the car. And then suddenly there's this truck that shows up. And it's like a water truck. They have like a hose. They're putting out the fire, and they realize it's holy water because the demon starts sizzling. And somebody in the group starts reciting an exorcism through a megaphone. Like, these girls have it together. Call them the 118.
Bro. Okay. Guys, sorry. I hate to interrupt. Buddy update.
No.
So here's the problem.
God.
I can't do a buddy update because we record these episodes so far and ahead of time. So you're just going to have to follow me on Twitter if you want to see the buddy news. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Actually, follow them on Blue Sky because it'll encourage them to post buddy news on Blue Sky because we need it over there.
Okay, yeah,
we need it over there. We need it
over
there.
Well, okay, that, and also when Buddy does become canon, because it will. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. November 5th, 2027.
Shut up.
Could you imagine
if I have to wait that long for Buddy canon, it's already been so long.
Fuck.
Anyway, well, that's okay. That's nothing compared to Destiel.
Yeah.
And that only sort of became canon. So, anyway, but yeah, no, they have this. Another thing too to note about this episode of Supernatural, they recite this exorcism, right? But it's not like the exorcism that Sam and Dean know. It's something else.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
It doesn't sound like Latin. So, spoiler alert, it's not. So these demons are sizzling. They're getting exercised.
Them shits is sizzling.
Okay.
Fuck.
Can someone draw Dean at a sizzler? Dean is a hibachi chef at you.
Oh wow. I don't know if he should no. The idea of Dean being a chef is so comical. I'm like, the thing that man knows how to cook is like cereal, and if he can't put it in the microwave, it's so over for him.
Okay, I did go on AO3.
I said this literally in the last episode. If we had like a checklist, like a bingo sheet, one of them would be Klaudia being like, well, I'm doing some research on AO3.
I looked up Destiel Hibachi.
Oh, Christ.
And one thing called The Date came up. Just one. I think they go on a first date to Hibachi, which is kind of cute. And they have
Destiel?
Yeah.
Yippee! Wait. The fact that they never took Cass to a hibachi restaurant in this show is so sad. Can you imagine him, like, when they pull out the little guy that pees on you?
All the jokes they make and he wouldn't get them, like,
yeah,
literally.
Cass is getting hit in the face with a piece of errant shrimp, and it's a problem. Guys, fanfiction writers are so strong and powerful. Like, I love fanfiction so much. I haven't read as much recently just because, like, I have been busy.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because I hear about this and I'm like, fuck. The only fanfiction I've had time for recently is I've been so locked into Conclave. Guys, it's crazy. I feel like I haven't really talked about Conclave on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you follow me on basically any other social media, you know. Yeah. That I'm like, I have conclave brain rot and I have to turn it off for like 3 hours a week so I can record this podcast.
Yeah, guys, you don't even understand how bad the conclave pilling is. Like,
it's really bad. It's like, guys, I challenge you all, this is my self-promo. You should go on my Letterboxd right now. It's linked in my link tree. But I think I just watched it for the 10th time in the last...
Bro. Okay, I just watched it for the 3rd time, but that's because I watched it first with my parents, and then I got on the Discord and I watched like half of it with you guys, and then I showed it to Claire. So
yeah,
it's not like I chose to watch it 10 times.
To be fair, a lot of the times I've watched it was when I was unemployed. Well, I wasn't really unemployed, but I was not going into work, and I was just having some fun, and I'd be like, I'm gonna throw Conclave on in the background and do some other stuff like tidy up, whatever. So it wasn't like I really watched it 10 times, but like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Also, Castiel is a music teacher in this AU.
This is so magical.
Okay. Anyways, so the demons are at Sizzler.
So So Dean, Sam, the demons, and these guys on this water truck are at Sizzler.
And the one of the guys goes up to the Winchesters and he's like, "Are you okay? You know, you need to be careful." And they're like, "Who are you guys?" And they're like, "So we're called the Sacrament Lutheran Militia. And if you haven't noticed, those are real demons and the apocalypse has begun." And they're like, "Oh." And they're like, "Okay, well," they can do the "I know what I'm about." Like, they're like, yeah, we know. And they open up their truck and it's just full of weapons. And they're like, "Oh, I guess we've met a colleague of hunters." And there's a lot of them. And Dean's like, "Don't worry, we're on the same team." And they're like, "Okay, you can like come back to our town." So they arrive at this church. It's called Blue Earth, Minnesota. And Dean's like, "What is going on?" And this is giving vibes of Christian supremacist cult. So this is where we're going.
Okay. Yeah.
With this.
It's not the pastor, really. It's just
It's
the vibes.
It's the vibes. Everybody's got guns. There's barbed wire everywhere. Everybody's in the church. A lot. When they go in, there's a wedding ceremony happening by this guy named Pastor Gideon. And the boys are like, "Damn, like getting married now?" And one of the guys is like, "Yeah, there's been so many this past week, whatever." It's like clearly everybody's just like, "Guess we better," before the end of the world. And I was like, "Oh, so you guys are against love?" I see how it is, Winchesters. Anyways, so they meet the pastor. He starts to show them the command center, which is in the church basement, and it's full of people of all ages, including children with guns. They're all have an arsenal. And Dean looks perturbed by this. And I need to stop. And they cut down to like the pastor, and like he has like a thigh holster and stuff like that. And they cut down to the pastor, and Dean is perturbed by this. And I have to take a second in this moment to be like, "Okay, Dean, you've been traveling around East Bumfuck of America for your basically entire life. You should be used to groups of very Christian people who are strapped the fuck in. Like, this should be the most normal thing you've ever seen." He's like, he's supposed to be like, you know, shocked by a pastor with a gun. And I was like, I think a pastor with a gun is the most American thing you could actually possibly see, unfortunately. Which is so funny that in this show of all shows, they're like, "Oh, that's unusual." It's supposed to be that it's unusual. And you're like, have you ever met people who are really Christian in rural areas? They're
okay,
they're bringing their guns to church.
To be fair, I think the Winchesters are so used to seeing people with guns that they have given the guns. Like, the only armed militias the Winchesters see are ones that they started.
Yeah.
So I think the idea of people already being strapped is very scary to them.
They're like, "Fuck, the Proud Boys."
They're not, okay, these people are not the Proud Boys. These people are literally fighting the apocalypse.
Okay. Well, yes, but
there's more, of course, considering we're 5 minutes into the episode, I would assume there's some more context here to be learned.
So, they're talking in the basement, and the pastor's like, "So we are armed, we're ready to fight demons in the apocalypse." And they're like, "Oh." And they see them, they're packing salt rounds. They clearly know an exorcism. And he's like, "Yeah, the demons are here and they're killing us." And Dean's like, "Well, why didn't you call the National Guard?" And he's like, "Well, we were told not to." And Dean's like, "By who? You gotta have somebody telling you, like, clearly you know all this stuff about hunting that only a hunter would know and all this kind of stuff." And they're like, the exorcism was in Enochian. It wasn't in Latin. So someone's clearly telling you something. And he's like, "Okay, I can't tell you." And then suddenly there's this woman who walks up. She's blonde. She's very like, preacher's daughter, typical. Her name is Leah.
Oh my God. This is just like Ethel Cain. That's just like Ethel Cain. She's just like Ethel Cain, except she's not at all. Are we all excited for Ethel Cain's second album coming out in August?
Yes.
It's time for me to be. I'm in my music advertising
We love that.
So I'd really love to get sponsored.
Oh.
So I'm doing it for free right now because of a love of the game. But if someone would like to send me money, that'd be awesome.
I can't with this. So Leah's like, it's okay, Dad. It's Sam and Dean Winchester. They're safe. And she's like, oh, I know all about them. You know, thanks to the angels. And they're like, what? What do you mean? And she's like, well, you have a Nokian warding on your ribs, so, like, they can't know that you're here. But yeah, like, the angels have been showing me where the demons are. They send me visions. It's so that we can protect ourselves. And I get these seizures, and it's very similar to the last prophet that they met. Now, one interesting thing about this is, if you know from the last episode to this one, yes, the apocalypse is coming, but it hasn't been this dire with just like groups of demons attacking people's towns, whatever. So like, why has it escalated so much in this town? Glad you asked. That question will be answered. We cut to also in this scene, Dean flirts with the preacher's daughter, you know, Dean behavior. So, in the next scene, we have Sam in the motel room. Or, I think he's at a bar, actually. Sam's at a bar, and he's trying to call Castiel. And we hear Castiel's voice.
Sorry, I'm already laughing. You haven't even started talking about it. These two episodes had, like, I swear to God, the density of, like, cast gifs and, like, clips that people know. It's so high in these two episodes.
Yeah. Well, actually, not even of just Cass. There's other moments, too.
Yeah.
That are really popular gifs. You hear Cass's... voicemail. What the... What does he say?
He says, it's like, you have reached, like, this number. Please leave a message for... I don't understand why you're asking me what my name is. After the beep.
It's so good. And... Seems like Cass isn't answering, and they turn and talk to the owner of the bar, who's also the bartender, and his name is Paul. And there's a lot of people in this bar.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy for thinking Paul was gay as hell?
Yes, okay, that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay, because he was exhibiting gay levels, and there's another scene later too with him where I was
wanted
like,
to fuck Sam.
He low-key did. He literally did. I'm like, Sam, if you could just get over yourself and maybe, okay, low-key, I feel like we've talked about this before, where I feel like Sam may be a little bi-curious, but I feel like he's mostly into women. But I do think when he was at college,
he kissed a man like once.
I feel like he maybe made out with a guy and was like, that was okay. Yeah. And then was like, I don't know if I need to examine it. And I feel like maybe if Sam, like, hooked up with a guy maybe a couple times, like, that might be helpful for him.
Yeah. No, but this is a very important part of the scene because every interaction between Sam and this guy Paul is really gay.
It's
like
crazy.
This guy, like Dean.
And also, I have to make it clear, Klaudia and I did not talk about this beforehand.
We didn't. I wrote it in my notes so that I would bring it up, and then
God,
you brought it up.
Guys, everyone clap. Klaudia took notes. Yay! We're professional podcasters.
Fuck. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm the asshole.
Fuck, now I'm laughing too hard. Okay. So the crazy part about
this... We can't keep doing this. We can't keep going into episodes with the sillies. It's not helpful.
Okay,
we talked about poop for like 10 minutes in our last episode.
It was funny as shit, though.
Oh my God.
Okay. So
anyway, Sam and this gay bartender hanging out.
This gay bartender is also very gay coded because he's like kind of separated from the rest of the town, but also by belief, like that becomes a theme later. And he's like very much like, so like Dean asks him and Sam asks him like, hey, like why is it so busy? And he's like, well, it's been one long last call ever since the end of the world started, so everybody's just kind of going crazy. And in this, like, yeah, Dean is there, but like Paul really is looking at Sam. He really wants to fuck him. Like, it's very like, after my shift later, Pookie. Like,
that's so true. And I also think, to be fair, it's also because I feel like, if I'm remembering correctly, Sam was the one who was asking most of the questions.
Yeah.
So, like, listen, here's the thing. I just want to make it clear. It was clearly not what was intended.
Yeah.
But for those with the Yowie goggles on, we know what's up.
Yeah. And also,
we see the real supernatural that big CW, big Warner Brothers doesn't want you to see.
Daddy's ass laugh.
Don't even evoke his name. He was not there yet.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, God. And Sam and Dean are like, why are all these demons targeting this town? And Sam gets kind of mad, and he's like, you know, these angels are having these people do their dirty work, and people are dying. And Dean has now entered his nihilism era, and he's like, okay, and like, everybody's gonna die in the next couple months anyway, so who gives a fuck?
And that is also, if you'll recall, in the last episode, they went through all these trials and tribulations to find God so that God could help them, because that was kind of their plan.
Yeah.
And then they got to heaven, and the angel Joshua, who is, like, apparently talks to God or whatever, was like, yeah, he is not fucking with us right now, so he's not rocking with us. So there's a lot of absent fatherism happening.
Yeah. And if I had just been told that God exists but doesn't give a fuck about me and had just been in heaven, and then I came back and saw some of these fucking Bible thumpers, I think I'd feel a sort of way. And Dean's kind of like, girl, what are we gonna do? And Sam's like, okay, but we should still, like, care. And Dean's like, well, it's not just a bad thing if these folks are running to the exits in an orderly fashion instead of freaking out. Sam says, who says they're all gonna die? Whatever happened to us saving them? And this conversation is so dark. And
it's so crazy. Dean was low-key pissing me off, but I understand where he was coming from, but he was still pissing me off in both of these episodes.
And then suddenly a bell starts ringing and everyone starts leaving the bar. And they're like, Paul, what the hell? And Paul's like, oh, Leah, the preacher's daughter, had another vision. So everyone's going back to the church. And
she was like, and then they roll up and she's like, oh my God, it's me, preacher's daughter.
Oh my God.
It's just not my year. And I'm all good out here. Say what you want, but say it like you mean it with your fist for once. Is this getting old?
No, I think it's funny as shit, but
that's a problem. Is I feel like I'm a lot better at giving Klaudia shit on this show, because even though I do think most of her jokes are funny, I won't admit it. But she eggs me on. She feeds my ego, and then I get a superiority complex about it.
One thing about me is I'll do anything for the bit. Like listen to 200 episodes of the Magnets Archive.
Oh my lord.
Fuck, we're funny as shit. Anyways.
Guys, like this post if we're the funniest people alive.
Fuck. Okay, so they go back to the church, and Leah has clearly had her vision. She's whispering it to her father. And he's like, okay, this is where she says these demons are going to be on the outskirts of town. Who wants to go? Some people volunteer. Sam and Dean volunteer. This guy Rob and his friend are joking back and forth. They're like, well, someone needs to cover my ass. The pastor leads a prayer, and Sam and Dean lower their heads, and they're kind of laughing during this because they're like, oh, you know, we're asking for God's help. And Dean's like, well, yeah, not so much. He's not around so much anymore, and that's kind of funny.
And he's also kind of doing it as an aside just to Sam. And Sam was like, dude, come on.
Yeah. And I'm like, I kind of agree with Dean on this one. But we see that Paul, he pulls out a flask. He's like, whatever. And Rob is the other guy who was talking to him, is kind of like, you know, looking down on him for drinking in the church. And we cut to...
Paul's just kind of like a lone wolf alpha type.
Yeah.
You know, he's not like a sheep. He's not like sheeple.
Are you saying that Sam's an Omega and he was spilling his
what the fuck? This is like that, it's like that tweet that's like, Twitter's the only website where you can say like, I like waffles, and then someone else is like, oh, so you hate pancakes? It's like, no, bitch, what are you talking about? That is a whole new sentence.
You said he was an alpha wolf, and then he was gay for Sam.
I'm talking about like a lone wolf, like alpha, like how guys are like, yeah, man, I'm an or maybe he's like a sigma. Yeah.
No, he's an alpha, and then he wants to not his omega. Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'm talking about Sigma Riz, and you're talking about your whatever gay little fan fiction stuff.
The woke mob.
The woke mob is trying to take away alpha males.
Well, I support alpha males. I support them nodding their omegas.
Yeah, if you say you're an alpha, you better be. Never mind.
I'm the alpha. I'm the lead.
Do not. No. Do not sing a song from fucking zombies to me.
Wait, that's what it's from?
Yeah, it's from when the werewolves show up, and it's an allegory for
what the fuck?
It's an allegory for like land back and like segregated schools. Well, that's what the first Zombies movie is about. Is an allegory for segregated schools. Yeah, the Disney Channel original movie Zombies is about segregation.
What the fuck?
But the zombies are like the ones being segregated. And then the werewolves show up and are like, that was our land that your people took. And then the next movie is about aliens. And it's kind of about, like, xenophobia from people who are not from where you're from.
Oh, wow. Oh.
It's crazy. Starring Meg Donnelly from the Winchesters.
Oh, okay. We brought it back to Supernatural.
We brought it back, guys.
Fuck. Okay. How did we get to talking about alphas and omega?
Because this guy, Alpha Male Paul, was drinking in church. Guys,
we're in a silly mood. So we cut to this group. It's Pastor Gideon, that guy Rob, Rob's wife Jane, their son Dylan, and Paul, the bartender, and the Winchesters. And it says in the wiki they descend on a demon house. I don't know why there's an abandoned house that the demons are hiding out in. Knowing what I know about this episode, now it makes a lot of sense, but it does seem a little weird. They kind of fly in. They got rock salt, exorcisms, holy water.
I mean, to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, I mean, you think about in the episode, with, that had Rufus and Ellen and Joe in it.
Yeah.
Where the demons had, like, occupied that town.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it kind of makes sense that they would post up somewhere, but it is just funny that it's, like, everywhere the demons go, they're, like, I feel like they're, like, when they're deciding what neighborhood they're going to, they're like, well, do they have a big-ass abandoned house? Let's go.
You know what? Real estate is really expensive. I get it.
Yeah, and I guess it's also in middle America, there are a lot of big-ass houses with, like, structural damage that have been abandoned, so it's actually, as I'm talking about it, I'm like, wait, I'm actually justifying it. It's actually fine.
It actually makes sense.
Damn it. You know I love clowning on Supernatural.
Damn, cinema wins?
Cinema may have won, but we, the Mystery Spotcast, lost today.
We lose every time we record.
We lose because we're a fucking Supernatural rewatch podcast. We lost because we're watching Supernatural.
We lost because, again, we watched Supernatural at a formative time in our lives, and it permanently shaped the shapes of our brains.
Yeah.
Like,
we're losing, too, because we feel like it's good now, and it's just gonna get worse.
Oh, God, I just thought about Leviathans and wanted to vomit.
Oh, my God. Don't talk to me about Dick.
So, they have these... It says they have holy water backpack sprayer blasts. They're throwing hands... They are exorcising people, but the Winchesters are just using the demon killing knife. And I'm like, damn, y'all really don't care about them, clearly. You don't care about their vessels, clearly.
Yeah, they stopped giving a fuck about that.
Yeah.
They said whatever. Sometimes you need to crack a few eggs to make an omelet.
Yeah. And they get her done. And then they come out. And Sam and Dean are like, damn, that went really well. And Sam's like, well, yeah, it's kind of nice, like, you know, having backup for once. And you're like, oh, I'm kind of sad now. Oh.
Which, yeah, I'm like, it's also crazy because I'm like, you guys have definitely gone into fights with backup before.
Yeah, maybe not that many people. They've
had
like 2 or 3 people, not that many people.
Yeah.
They don't have a literal fucking militia with them. And... The kid, Dylan, he's like, hey, can I ride back to town with you guys? And they're like, okay, cool. They are strangers, but like,
Yeah.
okay.
When you say kid, he's also like, he's probably like 17
Yeah,
or 18 maybe.
Also, fun fact, this is the actor that played Michael in Jane the Virgin. I immediately saw him and I was like, Michael?
It's crazy because a lot of the characters in this episode are played by like somewhat well-known like recurring characters on other network TV shows.
Yeah.
So this is it was weird because everybody looked familiar.
So they drive away, and before they get in the car, Dean gives the kid a beer. He's like, you saved our life, so like don't tell your parents. And I'm like, girl, stop it.
I mean, that is funny as fuck because I do think the idea of this kid getting totally blackout drunk with the Winchesters and then coming home and Dean being like, yeah, I don't know what happened.
Oh my god. So Dylan, like, he leans against the car, he starts taking a sip, and then suddenly he just gets yanked to the ground. Something is dragging him by the ankles and is trying to pull him under the car. And Dean, like, runs around, Sam runs around, and they pull a demon out from under the car, and they kill it, but then they look, and the boy is already dead. The demon killed him. We cut to Dylan's funeral. They're bringing a coffin into the church. And at that moment, I was like, you guys didn't burn his body, but when you're dealing with demons, but okay. And
to be fair, I mean, I think the burning the body is very much a Hunter thing, but I can imagine this very religious group not wanting to opt for cremation.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. It makes sense also because it's like they really only burn the body for like spiritual purposes. I mean, I know for the Hunters it's practicality to a certain extent, but it's also like I don't know. I kind of understand why they wouldn't try to enforce their beliefs. Winchesters are woke because they're not trying to enforce their spiritual beliefs on people.
I mean, the Winchesters do kind of have whole plot lines where they're enforcing their spiritual beliefs on people. That's kind of their whole thing.
That's not their whole thing.
Well, I mean, it's kind of. Anyways, so they're at the funeral. Dean's like saying sorry to Dylan's parents, Jane and Rob, and Jane's like, this is your fault. And you're like, oh.
Like, girl.
And Pastor Gideon tries to calm them down, and then suddenly, in the middle of the funeral, Leah, his daughter, collapses, and she starts to have a vision and a seizure. And then she gets up and she feels fine, and she's like, Dylan is coming back, everybody, like it's gonna be okay. And they're like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, he's gonna be resurrected on Judgment Day, and all of us, we're gonna get to see our loved ones, the angels have chosen us, etc., etc. A lot of this sort of rhetoric. And she's like, we have to follow the angels' commandments, and that means no drinking, no gambling, and no premarital sex. Because if you remember, Dylan was drinking, and then suddenly he died.
Oh my god.
So
wait.
Yeah. So they're leaving the church, and Sam's like, damn, drinking, gambling, and premarital sex, that's like 90% of your personality. How do you feel about that? And Dean's like, well, whatever. One in Rome.
Dean's like, who gave a fuck? And who cared?
Yeah.
Clap if you care.
Clap if you care. And Sam's like, are you good? And he's like, I'm not cool. And Dean's like, I'm not cool with it, but it's not my call. We're not from here. And he goes to go back into the church, and Sam's like, what the hell? You can tell Dean really wants community. Dean craves community so bad.
Yeah, Dean is fighting the demons right now, and the demons not being the literal demons, but the demons being craving community, but also I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
And like it's crazy when being gay is like the third demon he's fighting. Like that's not even top 3 right now, which is insane.
Yeah. So he goes back in the church. He goes to talk to Leah. She's like in one of the back rooms, and he's like, hey, how are you doing? And she's like, well, how are you doing? And she's like, I know all about this stuff. And he's like, well, what have the angels been telling you about paradise? Like, and she's like, well, you know, after the prize fight, it's going to be pretty bad, but we're going to win. And then the planet will be given to the chosen, and we'll have a peaceful place. And you'll just be around the people you love, and there'll be no monsters and no disease and no death. And Dean's like, huh, must be nice being chosen. And Leah's like, well, you are one of the chosen. And he's like, yeah, more like cursed. And then he goes to leave, and she's like, it's got to be hard for you to be the vessel of heaven, but having no hope. And then he leaves. And you're like, oh my God, she got his ass.
It's also, I mean, a really interesting thing is it kind of harkens back to the conversation that they had with Pamela in the last, or that Dean had with Pamela in the last episode, where she's like, I mean, you could just let everybody die, because, I mean, it's, heaven's, all things considered, pretty nice. Like, I kind of like it here, and that's what I was thinking this whole time, is like, dang, I bet Dean is, like, reflecting on that conversation as well, and being like, well, fuck, I mean, I guess, shit.
He's having the nihilist moment. And we cut, and now Sam is at Paul's bar alone, and at this point, I know Paul wants to fuck him bad.
Yeah, I mean, look how he's tall. He's got good hair. He's got crazy sideburns. I feel like Sam's sideburns this season are really out of control. I mean, they're out of control a lot, but, like, especially right now, they're just like, whoa. Like, I feel like I develop a blindness to it because I'm so used to looking at him.
Yeah.
But
you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like, oh, God, okay. The fact that Dean didn't say, hey, man, listen, you gotta do something about that.
They had other fish to fry, okay?
He said, well, the fact that my brother has the most insane facial hair, it's fine.
Yeah. So there's nobody in the bar because now everybody's not allowed to drink. And he's like, yeah, guess it's apocalypse is no longer good for business. And Paul's like, well, I love and I'll protect my hometown, but I don't have time for holiness. I'm not with all that kind of stuff. And Sam's like, yeah, I saw you, like, weren't really praying earlier. And Paul's like, half the guys in the militia are similar to me. Most of them were boozing and or banging the nanny. And now they've all become warriors of God. And he's like, I'm not really sure if there's a God or not. I've never prayed. But I think it would be hypocritical if I started now. And he's like, are you a believer, to Sam? And Sam's like, well.
It's a loaded question.
That's a loaded question. I know, but I don't think I really give a fuck anymore either way.
Oh my God, I know that was so hot. I know Paul was like, oh my God.
Dean wanted, sorry.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Claudia's a Winchester shipper strikes again.
Me and Zachariah. Remember when
Oh my God, whoa. Guys, there's like insane Winchester reference in this episode.
No, it's in the next one with Zachariah.
Oh, yeah.
One. Okay, you gotta cut that out because fuck.
No, I'm leaving it in. I love making you sound like a Winchester shipper by accident.
Fuck, that was horrible. Anyway, Paul really wants to fuck Sam.
Yeah. Paul, oh my God.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because Sam, I feel, this is the great thing. Another great thing about Sam. We've talked about this about Dean, but Sam really can just be any gender, any sexuality you want him to be. As long as we say, okay, yes, he likes women, anything else is fair game.
Yeah. It's kind of like Bash. He's whatever gender and whatever sexuality you want him to be, as long as he likes Wolfwood.
Yeah. Well, okay, fair enough. I feel like Sam, listen, I love my headcanon that he's a he/him lesbian, but maybe a little bicurious.
Exactly.
I think that's my reading of Sam.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's maybe a little gender fluid. And
I think he likes women in a she/her way.
I agree. Literally.
Exactly.
That's exactly it. Okay. Yeah.
Oh God, if there's any like straight people who have stumbled upon this podcast, like we're like 10 steps past Judith Butler and the level of
yeah, we're on queer level 8 right now.
Yeah.
So you guys need to match our energy. I'd really appreciate it.
Then again, they're listening to a supernatural podcast.
If you're guys, okay, sound off. I'm asking a lot of you listener interaction this episode.
Yeah.
If you're straight and you listen to this podcast, first of all, how did you get here?
This is a genuine question. This is a genuine question.
And I'm honored. Like, I appreciate it. the fact that you keep listening is insane, but thank you. Sound off. I just want to see if there are actually any at all.
Yeah. How did you get here? And like, have we absolutely puzzled and mystified you with our advanced discussion of Sam Winchester's gender?
And sexuality.
Or they.
Or they. I always say that.
See, I think that Sam could be she, her, and he, him, but not they, them.
Okay, I totally get like almost like
he's bi gender.
Like yeah. I totally get that. I feel okay. Here's the problem though. I do feel like I could see Sam using they them. Like
he would use
just
they them at first because it's the woke thing to do, but then realize that. But
Whoa.
then he would be like your friend that's
words.
too woke after that, and then be like, I don't have to be accepted as non-binary. You know what I mean?
What you're saying. I was like big talk coming from the cis woman, but I think here's the problem. Here's the problem. The basis I have for this is that Jared was like, sure, Sam can be non-binary and use they them pronouns. So I'm like, I'm gonna take advantage of that confirmation, despite the issues I have with Jared. I do think that Sam using they them pronouns is really powerful to me, but he's also, I feel like he uses any pronouns. Maybe after the events of Supernatural, he starts going by they them, but really he doesn't mind.
Yeah, he's like, my brother can call me my brother Sam, but the rest of you have to call me they them.
Yeah, exactly. Here's another thing. And you know what? Next episode that we talk about this, my opinion's going to be totally different because that's the Sam Winchester way.
God.
Anyways,
what
the fuck were we talking about?
We cut back to the motel.
Okay, we're
while
back.
Sam is getting shit-faced and probably his dick sucked by
literally
by Paul. Dean is completely sober. He is in this motel room. Sam like stumbles in, is like, "Hey," and Dean's like, you know, and Dean's like, then why are you back? And he's like, well, I had to get back before our stupid curfew. And he's like, did you know that all the cell towers are down? There's no internet. There's no phone.
Yeah. He also tells Dean, he's like, well, I was at the bar getting a drink without you. And this is how I found all this stuff out because I'm actually like participating in what's going on here.
Yeah. And Dean's like, I don't care. And Sam is like, why aren't you mad? Like, they're turning this into a fundamentalist compound. And Dean's like, angel world, angel rules. And he says, and Sam's like, really? And he's like, well, this is the Titanic and the angels have the lifeboats. So, and you're like, oh, this is so dark. And he's like, who's going to save them? Because it was supposed to be us, but we can't do it. And Sam's like, come on, man. Like, you can't do this. And Dean's like, actually, I can. And they're fighting back and forth. And they're like, Sam's like, there's no one else that we can count on. I can't do this alone. And Dean's like, you know what? I gotta go. And he grabs his stuff and he walks out. And Sam's like, well, what about the curfew? And he walks out. And
Dean, I feel like Dean in this episode is trying to be like, clap if you care, but really you can tell he cares a lot and just has given up.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the thing I always say about this show, and I've said it a million times on this podcast, but it's like, even when the writing is bad, the acting is still good. But it's crazy when the writing is good because you can literally, like, their acting is good and then the writing's also good. It's like, whoa, like, this is actually a very compelling performance, and I can totally see, like, the cogs turning in Dean's head, and I can totally understand exactly what he's thinking. And it's conveyed so well in episodes like this that sometimes when I get to episodes that are written poorly, but the acting is good, it's like, okay, I think I can justify why he would think this because the acting in these episodes and it is so impressive.
Sometimes you're parched, but then sometimes it's just overflowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's and there's really no in between. So we cut back to the church. Pastor Gideon is working with the other militia members, and then suddenly Leah comes in and she's panicked and she's crying and she goes up to him and she's like, the angels are mad. They say we can't go to paradise. And everyone's like, why? And she's like, well, we haven't been doing what we're told. And they're like, well, we've been following the rules. And she's like, no, some people haven't. They haven't been following the rules. And Rob is like, okay, well, can you name some names? And Dean is out, like, walking around, and he suddenly hears, like, shouting and glass shattering at Paul's bar. So he goes in, and he finds that Paul and Rob and a bunch of the people have gone in to try and beat the shit out of Paul. And Rob has a baseball bat, and Pastor Gideon is standing between them, like, guys, like, let's calm down.
Yeah, I will say, Pastor Gideon, just, like, so we're all clear, Pastor Gideon does seem like a pretty normal, like, rational guy. Like, he does not seem like the kind of, he's not like a fundamentalist cult leader kind of guy. Like, he seems like a pretty down-to-earth preacher who was like, oh, I'm put in this crazy situation.
Yeah.
But you can tell throughout the course of the episode, like, it, like, in this last encounter when Leah was like, people have been sinning, he's like, Leah, like, stop it. We need to talk about this separately. Like, you're scaring people.
Yeah.
So,
and he's like, and this is the moment where he's like, divas, we need to calm down. Like,
yeah,
what is going on?
I think he says something that's almost like, guys, like, if we are attacking him, like, this is, like, more of a sin than what he's doing. Like, this is, the ends don't justify the means here, guys. Like, we need to get our heads together.
And Dean's like, hey, like, to the pastor who's trying to break up the fight, he's like, do you need help? And Paul's like, you know, you guys are my friends. We grew up together, and you're trying to run me out of town. And Rob's like, you need to leave. It's for the greater good. And it's not our choice. And Paul's
I think also, to be clear, Rob and this other woman who's here, whose name escapes me, they are the parents of the boy who was killed.
Who died. Yeah. And Paul's like, that's bullshit. And he's like, we grew up together, and I'm not leaving. This is my home. I stood up and gave a speech at your wedding. Jane, who's the one who just lost her son.
Jane,
Yeah, she's like, you know, well, that was then, and you're standing against the flock of true believers. And
insane.
Paul's like, I go out and I fight with you. And Rob's like, don't make this any harder for us. And he's like, again, this is my home. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
You'll have to drag me out. It's
awful. crazy because he's like, don't make this hard for us. Like, Rob says that. And Paul's like, hard for you? Like, this is my home. Why the fuck would it be not? Like, why do you think this is easy for me?
Yeah.
It's really fucked up. It's also, I would be remiss not to point out some of the, it's crazy to be like, look at the similarities of where we're at right now.
Yeah.
As a society, like in American culture, but it's very much giving the like, oh, we're all ganging up on one person because they have different views.
Yeah.
And engaging in, you know, removing them from a situation.
Yeah.
So it's very upsetting.
It is very upsetting. In this moment, Rob goes to like drag Paul out, and Dean stops him, and they're struggling. And then Jane walks up with a gun and shoots Paul point blank in the chest, dead. And she's like, no one's gonna stop me from seeing my son again.
Fuck.
You're like, oh my god. Then we cut to
Jesus Christ, this is whiplash.
It's such whiplash. We cut back to the motel. Sam is there. And suddenly, who walks in but Castiel, looking a little unsteady on his feet. And you're like, what the fuck?
This is also, this scene is crazy. It's so freaking funny.
Crazy. Castiel is drunk. He is so drunk.
Yeah.
He's like, I came because of your voicemail, Sam. He says, she's like, I find the sound of your voice grating. Like, so many quotes are from this scene.
It's so crazy because he walks in. Sam is like, Cass, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? And he's like, I'm fine. He's like, you're drunk. And he's like, I found a liquor store. And Sam's like, okay, and what'd you do? And he's like, I drank it. And then Sam's like, okay, well, like, why didn't you come sooner? Like, I've been waiting for you. This is, like, I know there's issues, whatever. Cass, like, leans in up into Sam's personal space and whispers in his ear, I find your voice extremely grating.
And he also says, don't ask stupid questions, like, right up in his ear.
No, literally. I was like, what the hell is going on? I say we're lucky that it wasn't Dean there, because if it was Dean, they would have been fucking.
Yeah, it would have been.
No, I fully believe if that had been Dean, Sam would have come back and been like, they would have been like, we made you a nephew. I also do need to let you guys know, I've not gone on the Pinterest app because so much of it is either AI or stolen art or stolen images in general. But I did open Pinterest. Or I didn't open it. I got a notification just now while we're recording that says dyke hair and more ideas. What the fuck? This was like when Pinterest, sorry, I have to go on a little Pinterest rant. Pinterest sent me a notification that was like, what was it? I got 2 notifications in a row. Evil tattoo for you.
Oh God.
Evil tattoos. And I'm like, why does it keep, I literally am scrolling through my updates right now. I've seen 5 recommendations for evil tattoo. What the fuck?
Oh
anyway. That's like me
God.
when I finally get my anti-possession tattoo. Guys, if we could get this podcast to 1 million downloads, Klaudia and I will get matching demon anti-possession tattoos like the Winchesters have.
Fuck, that would be so terrible.
We do that, then we have a massive falling out and cancel the podcast.
Anyways, Sam and Cass and Dean fuck nasty. No. Sam is with drunk Cass, who's saying all kinds of shit. Sam is talking about all these demon attacks, and Cass is like, are there angels here? And Sam's like, okay, sort of. There's this prophet. Her name is Leah. And Castiel's like, there's no prophet named Leah. All the names of the prophets are seared in my brain from the beginning of time, and she's not one of them. And Cass and Sam's like, oh, what do you mean? And Dean comes back and he's like, hey, queens, they killed Paul. This is pretty bad. And Cass is like, oh, fuck, it's starting. And clearly Cass and Sam have been talking in the time before when Dean came back, and they're like, okay, so the person impersonating Leah, it's not Leah, it's actually someone named the Whore of Babylon from the Book of Revelation.
I do have to interject. When Dean also, I really loved the performance of this scene. Like, I really enjoyed how this scene was done.
Yeah.
But Dean comes in and he's like, he has blood all over his hands, right? And Sam's like, oh my God, are you okay? And he's like, it's not mine. Paul is dead. And Sam has this like awful shocked expression on his face. And I'm just like,
Oh, he thought that Dean did it. Yeah.
See, do you think that?
I think there was a moment where he went, shit, did Dean do it? But then was like, nah, probably not.
I don't know. I don't feel like that wasn't the read I got, because I do think he was just like, the thought that I have was that he was like, oh, so now Dean cares.
Yeah.
Like, now he finally gives a fuck. Okay.
So
also,
Cass,
my man is dead.
Yeah.
This is so sad.
Exactly. So Cass explains that the Whore of Babylon rises when Lucifer walks the earth, bearing false prophecy, and she possesses the power to take human form and read minds and whatever. So it's clearly Leah. And I just want to interject here, because we're talking a lot about Revelations. We're talking a lot about apocalypse stuff in the Bible. There is a ongoing theory. There's an article from NPR about it that I'll put in the show notes, because this is not just me saying ancient aliens shit, okay? That the Book of Revelations may have been a piece of political satire written by people in the historical Holy Land about the Roman Empire and the politics of the crumbling politics of the Roman Empire. It's really, really quite topical.
That is really interesting, because I've definitely heard that.
Yeah.
And then I hear some historians be like, okay, like there's not like the evidence for that isn't necessarily there, but it's like some kind of like disagree on it. So I think it's one of those things that's like, it's interesting to bring up, but it's also important to be like, how valid is this?
Yeah.
I wish, that's the thing that sucks, and not to get too like society, but I really wish that we were at a point where we could have good faith conversations about like history and about like potential things, because I think people latch on to conspiracy theories so much that suddenly it's like, people take things way too seriously, or like accuse you of trying to spread a hoax.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it would be really cool to be able to, and I mean, to be fair, academics are doing this. Like, this isn't something that no one's doing, but it's hard to have a discussion with, like, everyday, like, non-academically inclined people of being like, oh, isn't this, like, theory interesting, without having to be like, but it's not a conspiracy theory, but I promise I'm not just trying to pander, I promise I'm not trying to spread misinformation.
Yeah.
And then it's like, when you hear stuff like that, you're also, the first thought I know, like, I have, and I'm sure a lot of you have, is that when you hear someone say, oh, you know, this historical fact might not be what you think, you're like, okay, so you're about to tell me some misinformation right now.
Yeah.
I promise I'm not spreading misinformation, and I promise the person that I got it from probably wasn't spreading misinformation. Like, you feel like you've got a million caveats.
Yeah, we can't say shit anymore. But I do just find it interesting, as a lot of people have been comparing the current state of the United States to the fall of the Roman Empire, and how there have been some literary allusions to the fact that, like, the book of Revelations is told in a really warlike way, which is really different from the rest of the Bible, which is very, like, stories basically of all kinds. And there's a couple things that seem a little like, they may have been representing certain Roman emperors and stuff like that. And I just do think it's funny that someone wrote imagine a world where someone wrote a political cartoon about the absolutely stupid and ineffectual Roman Empire, and then, like, thousands of years later, they're making a really stupid TV show about it.
I like the idea that, like, that's the impact. It's not like it's not the entire, like, Western, like,
Look at me, that's
not
part
even
of
Western.
it.
It's not like it's not like the biblical canon that was built on that. That's shocking. It's the fact that supernatural references it. That's crazy.
Like Emperor Nero was awful, and then a bunch of people were writing about how that shit sucked in a coded way in the Book of Revelations, and then thousands of years later, the Omegaverse exists.
We wouldn't have Omegaverse without Nero, and I always say that.
That's true.
We literally, okay, I'm not joking. I think we had this exact same conversation about George Bush in the last episode.
Yeah, everything's connected. Society.
Wow. Okay.
Fuck.
Guys, we're bringing it together.
Fuck, we're talking about the Book of Revelations. It's so dark. Everyone's gonna be like, fuck, they're spreading conspiracy theories. We're not, I promise.
I wish we could see what parts of our episodes people skip through the most.
They're gonna be like, oh god, they're on another rant about George Bush again.
What are these two broads talking about?
Oh god. I just also have to flag that from this point on in the episode, they say the word whore a lot.
Yeah. It felt like they were I almost feel like they were like the writer's room was like reading through Revelations and saw that there was someone who was called the whore, and they were like, yippee.
This episode is written by a woman.
Yeah. Julie's always on some shit though.
Yeah.
She's always on some shit.
Okay. So
also, open invitation. If you ever worked on Supernatural, if you're a Supernatural writer and you want to come on this podcast,
please. No, we won't be mean. I promise. We're just having a laugh.
No, guys, we actually love Supernatural. Everyone should go watch it after this. But make sure to watch it in syndication or something, because they don't really get residuals from streaming. So
yeah. Buy the DVDs.
Buy the DVD. Mm-hmm. Buy the where's the Supernatural 16 season entire series box set?
Exactly.
That's $700.
Deluxe steelbook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want a little packet on the inside that has fun facts.
Yeah. So Cass is like, okay, so the demons that are attacking the town, they're actually controlled by her. The exorcism that she's giving is fake. And then he's drunk and he's like, okay, in the wiki, it says it's Enochian blue humor. This is where the it's funnier in Enochian quote comes from. And he's like, it means you breed with the mouth of a goat. And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah. And he sits there and he looks at Sam and Dean and they like don't laugh and he goes, it's funnier in Enochian, and it's so
he's having a grand old fucking time.
I'm so excited. Like, I love when Cass starts to have like a personality. Like, it's so exciting.
Yeah. And all this like promises of paradise, whatever, all these lies are a part of achieving what Dean witnessed, innocent blood spilled in God's name. And her goal is to condemn as many souls to hell as possible. That's her whole thing. And I think they ate that a little bit when they were like, and how does she do that? Pretend to be a mega church girly. And you're like, okay, let's lock in.
I do think there's something interesting about the idea of like, because I think, not to get too into like biblical philosophy, but I think, you know, people lose the love thy neighbor thing. And especially in a lot of like fundamentalist groups, it's like, oh, well, love thy neighbor conditionally. So I think the idea of saying that this person is saying like isolating each other and like practicing isolationism and othering of people who sin, like, you know, one of the fundamentals of Christianity from a certain point of view is loving thy neighbor. So I think that is actually like shockingly interesting commentary from Supernatural about Christianity.
Yeah, I will say the time that Castiel kills the Westboro Baptist Church was also pretty good.
Yeah, that was epic.
That was the moment that every small gay teen was like, "You're my favorite character."
No,
now.
I was like, I don't even give a fuck if he's supposed to be crazy right now. He was based as hell.
No, literally. So they're like, okay. The other part of this scene, is Dean is suddenly pumped. He's like, how do we go pimp of Babylon all over this bitch?
Right. I
also, I did not really do research on like who the actual whore of Babylon, like where that lore comes from. We're gonna find out live in real time.
I mean, it is Revelations. I mean,
Babylon the Great, commonly known as the Whore of Babylon, refers to both a symbolic female figure and a place of evil, as mentioned in the Book of Revelations. Her full title is Mystery Babylon the Great, the Mother of Harlots and Abominations of the Earth. Oh, so she's serving massive
I
cunt.
low-key want to queen out with her. What?
Biblical levels of cunt. Like, she's further identified as a representation of the great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. The great horror of the Book of Revelation is featured in chapter 17, blah, blah, blah. Mystery Babylon the Great, Mother of Harlots. Oh, so she's literally mother.
No, she is. She's mothering.
Yeah.
Mother is mothering.
Mother is literally mothering. The horror is associated with the beast of Revelation, blah, blah, blah. Personification of capital cities as women who commit prostitution or whoredom or adultery in the prophetic books of the Bible.
Diva.
Yeah. So, yeah, actually, this is actually a really interesting Wikipedia. Oh, I'm going to go down such a rabbit hole.
You put two neurodivergent gay people on a podcast about Supernatural and get shocked that they go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole from time to time.
Yeah. That's crazy. Whore of Babylon, original mother who mothered. We're queening out with her. Sorry to the Deanchesters.
Whoa.
I can't even speak today. Like, what the fuck am I saying? Anyways, they go back to the church office. Jane and Rob are there. They're talking to, quote unquote, Leah. And Jane is crying. She's like, I just killed a guy for selfish reasons. Maybe I made the angels angrier. And Leah's like, no. The angels will understand you did a good thing. And Paul was a sinner. And the pastor overhears this and he's like, isn't it just as bad of a sin to murder somebody? I don't think that would be okay with the angels. And Leah's like, it's not a sin to strike down evil. And he's like, he's going to say more. And she's like, you always taught me to have faith. Because she's supposed to be his daughter. And he's like, oh my God, this is going so sideways.
Yeah, he is realizing like something's not right.
Yeah.
He doesn't quite realize what, but he's definitely like, okay, we're losing the plot big style.
Yeah. We cut back to the motel. Castiel has come back with what the wiki calls the required weapon, which is a stake made from a Babylonian cypress tree. Okay. And he's like, this'll kill her. Okay. And he's like, here's the problem. The stake has to be wielded by a true servant of heaven. And he's like, I got laid off. I got kicked out. Dean has refused that call, and Sam is considered an abomination. So none of us can really
fill
that
he's
bill.
like, well, flop on our part, guys.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, what do we do? We cut back to the church. Leah's at the front of the congregation. Pastor Gideon is standing behind her like, oh shit, guys. She's like, the final judgment is happening this like midnight tonight, but the angel said we're not ready. There's still a few sinners. They need to be taken care of. Like, it's escalating. It's dire. And the pastor is like, hey, we need to calm down. And she's like, I've been given instructions. Our time is running out. And he like grabs her to stop her. And he's like, somebody's going to get killed. And she's like, if you don't let me, you'll be the next sinner that I name. And he leaves the church and he's like, oh my God, what do I do? Suddenly, Cass appears to the priest. And he's like, hi, I'm an angel of the Lord. And the priest is like, sure, Jan. Okay. And Cass is like, okay, we don't have time for this. And teleports him back to the motel room. And Sam and Dean are like, okay, so yeah, he really is an angel. Like, you know, it's real. It's true. Let's get on with it. And the priest is like, what the hell? And they're like, okay, so because you're a true servant of heaven, because you are an actual priest with some morals, you have to do the thing. And he's like, I can't do that. That's my daughter. And they're like, that's not your daughter. She's been dead for months. That is the thing that killed her. And he's like, I don't know if I can do that. And they're like, okay, if you don't kill it, more innocent people are going to be killed and the rest are going to be sent to hell because they killed people. And so also when Cass is talking to the priest says, you know, well, why can't you do it? You're an angel. And Cass says, yeah, a poor example of one from the corner. And you're like, oh, okay. My heart just broke.
It's okay, princess.
It's okay, princess. The priest is like pondering it. Then we cut to a scene outside the motel with Destiel.
Oh, God.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my God. We've been waiting so long. It's crazy that I feel like low-key Sam has been gayer in this episode than Dean.
I know.
Up until now.
Yeah. Okay, so Cass is sitting outside the hotel. He clearly has a hangover. He's sitting on a bench. Dean gives him some Advil, and he's like, just take the whole thing. Castiel is currently having his crash out because he just found out that God exists but doesn't care. And Dean is like, well, as another expert on deadbeat dads, you know, I can help. And Cass asks him, he's like, how do you do it? How do you go on? And Dean says, I manage, and on a good day, you get to kill a whore.
Right?
Yeah, so this is one of those moments when this show is so textbook, hates women so much it comes back around to being gay. This this is one of those examples of how this show is a foundational example of that.
Yeah, like, because if RuPaul said that, you girls would be eating it up.
That's so fucking true.
If this was Rue and Michelle,
yeah,
then y'all would be eating it up.
Yeah, but this is them bonding over like a common moment. Oh, this is so integral to their love story. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh God. It's just like, you know what though? I do think it was really a good idea to like, because Cass was only supposed to initially be like a one-off kind of character,
yeah.
But I think they really needed this kind of character to have like the crisis of faith, so that we could see how far Dean has come.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like I feel like it's not just because I love Cass, but like, even if Cass wasn't there, I think it would be extremely important for there to be a character having this sort of situation, just so that we can see like, hey, look how far Dean has come in terms of like his relationship with his father and how much he has healed in the last like 5 years.
Yeah. We cut back to the church, and Jane and Rob have taken a bunch of people and shoved them into the storeroom, including children, and like, because they've been instructed that they are the sinners. And Leah's like, get the kerosene. And Jane's like, I don't know. Like, there's kids in there. And Leah's like, the angels gave me their name for a reason. And your son needs you. You'll never see him again. And she's like, okay, I'll do it. Then they say, the whore, Leah, is alone in the church office, and Cass appears, and he holds her down so that Pastor Gideon can stake that bitch. And she's like, please, I'm your daughter. Don't do this. And while he's hesitating, she says something in Enochian, and it makes Castiel like drop to the floor in pain. It's like an Enochian spell. I'm like, okay, so we're doing witchcraft. Like I don't know.
It was crazy because he also like falls to the ground and is like gripping his stomach, and all I could think was like, oh my god, she's like, I'm giving you my period cramps.
No, literally, she said, I give you PCOS.
Can we get some art of someone giving Cass their period cramps, please?
It's like, you know, that's that thing that's like where they get the surgery and they're like, how did I get this? And you're like, well, who do you think you got them from?
That's like Dean and Cass.
Fuck. Okay.
Dean gets gender affirming surgery and they give Cass his uterus. This is a beautiful love story.
I bet they have that on AO3.
Girl, okay, if you go on AO3 one more time.
Guys, can you send us a pic where
you ask them, you come up with the most insane premise and then are like, this has to exist.
It's Destiel fanfiction. It has to exist.
Ugh.
Or if it doesn't, somebody write it.
Guys, you need to get on it. We need, if you're listening, can you please go back and like make a checklist of all the things we asked you to do?
We've asked a lot of things of our listeners.
Yeah, guys, we're assigning homework now.
God, that's so dark. Guys, I gotta do my supernatural homework.
I have to do my podcast homework.
Oh, that's me when I have to watch episodes and take notes.
Oh my god.
Oh, God. So Castiel has his period cramps, and so the whore of Babylon psychokinetically flings the pastor across the room and the Winchesters, and she like runs out into the chapel, and the pastor gets up. He starts going after her. She starts screaming. She's like, he's a demon, and they get him. And, you know, he lets go of the cypress branch, and you're like, oh, fuck. And she's like, Rob and Jane, like, burned the people in the storeroom. And Sam manages to stop Rob and stop Jane before they can burn these people to the ground. And the whore, as it says, knocks Dean over. She's choking him out, and she sees him grabbing for the stake, and she's like, you pathetic, self-hating, faithless, so-called servant of heaven, you're just gonna sit back and watch the end of the world. I'm like, damn, fuck, he's already dead. Like, you're hurting him physically, and you're also just getting his. I was like, damn. Dean finally gets it. He grabs the stake, and he gets her with it, and he says, don't be so sure, whore. And then we see her, it says her true visage. We see her true form, and she's convulsing. She glows. The stake burns up, and she finally dies. And we're left with just like the body of the original girl. And
yeah, but also, I mean, the thing too is like when she gets staked, like all of the people there see her get staked, but also see like the inside of her like light up and are like, yeah. Oh, clearly this was not a human. Uh-oh.
Yeah. And Jane's like, how are we gonna get to paradise now? And Dean goes, I'm pretty sure you're headed in the other direction. I was like, oh,
that's because you did a hate crime against that poor gay bartender.
Yeah,
Jane.
Also, it's misogynistic when Dean Winchester says, don't be so sure, whore, but it's not misogynistic when he's one of the gays.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, we need to talk about gay men being misogynistic. Let's not.
It is, but I think if Dean Winchester said, don't be so sure, whore, to me, I'd be like, all right, let's queen out.
I was gonna say it's okay because he's closeted. Like, he's closeted and he's repressed, and then I'm like, oh god, this is how people talk about Tommy from 911, and I can't be accused of that. I can't be putting Dean Winchester and Tommy Kennard in the same conversation. That's not fair. Also, to be fair, though, Dean is coming out in a post-Glee world, so, like...
Stop!
This is a pre-Glee world, though. Anyway.
Okay, also, I haven't seen the episode of 911 yet, but we have to talk about how Chuck is in the episode of 911.
Yeah, guys. Rob Benedict, who plays Chuck, was in an episode of 911, and one of the characters, Chimney, who's one of the firefighters, played by Kenneth Choi, there is a line where he looks at him and goes, "You have about a 32-inch waist, right?" And I'll leave you with no more context than that.
What the fuck?
I'll leave you with no more context than that.
What? That's okay, because I know somebody is writing this on AO3 right now. So, because if Rob Benedict exists in the 911 universe, that means that Chuck got tired of the Winchesters and just started writing little firefighter blordos.
I do like the idea that Rob Benedict, every role he plays is God.
It's the Benedict verse.
Like, it's okay.
Into the Benedict verse.
Okay. I'm sad. I'm sad again. I'm here. I'm locked in.
Oh God. Anyways, so Jane's dead. These stupid bitches are like, fuck, guess we shouldn't have killed people.
Jane isn't dead.
Oh, sorry.
Leah's
dead. Sorry.
The whore is dead.
Yeah. The whore. What is this? A whorehouse.
That's me when I enter this church.
The boys pick up Castiel while he has his period cramps. Wounded Castiel. Well,
because the thing is that Sam is carrying like the pastor out because he's also really injured.
Yeah.
And Dean has like got his baby and he's like, "Let's go, mama."
He said, "My man, my man, my man."
Mm-hmm.
And Sam's like, "How were you able to do that if you're not a servant of heaven? Is there something you want to tell us?" And Dean's like, I guess it was just good luck. And Sam's like, "Are you gonna do something stupid? As in Michael stupid?" And Dean's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." But Sam's like, "Oh, fuck." And they get back to the motel, and Dean goes to leave. And Sam's like, "Where are you going?" And Dean's like, "Oh, I'm just getting more bandages from the trunk."
Yeah. Because the other thing too is Sam is like, they're bandaging up the pastor.
Yeah.
And they're like, Sam's like, "Are you all right?" And he's like, "Well, no." Well,
yeah.
no. And then Cass is also laying in Dean's bed with a nosebleed bleeding onto his sheets.
Oh.
This is just like having a period.
No, literally. And
we've all ruined a favorite pair of sheets.
No,
right?
literally.
Ugh.
Get him a Diva Cup stat.
We need, oh man, a
Castiel's
Diva Cup for
Diva
his
Cup.
nosebleed. Castiel would have a nosebleed and be like, "Well, I saw that when you bleed, you're supposed to use a Diva Cup." And fucking Dean doesn't say anything because he's him. And then Sam has to be like, "Well, usually that's not for that kind of bleeding." And Cass is like, "Oh, so I've been walking around looking like an idiot and Dean didn't think to tell me." Okay. All right.
Oh my God.
Thanks, guys.
That's so... Okay. So, Dean goes outside, and then he gets in the Impala and speeds away. And Sam is like, "What the hell?" and yelling after him. It's bad. It's bad, girls. We cut to a scene that is so crazy.
Fuck. I was also totally forgot that this happened in this
Me
episode
too.
and was like so caught off guard.
Yeah. I have mixed emotions about this, but we'll get into this. So,
yeah.
Dean shows up to a house in suburbia, and he knocks on the door. And who is it but Lisa?
Do we remember Lisa, guys?
Lisa is the one who we thought maybe that she might have had Dean's child by accident, but like she didn't. And they like had a kind of a little fling. And
they had a fling when they were younger, and it was like Dean was passing through town on a job, and like they low-key like banged it out, but then we're like kind of low-key in love, but we can't deal with that. And then they came back
for a case.
Yeah, and they hung out with her kid, who was like really awesome.
Yeah. So she's like, "Hey, like, are you okay?" And he's like, he goes into this really awkward speech, and he's like, "Okay, well, even though I accept this weird life I live and I don't have any illusions about how it's going to turn out," that line made me want to kill myself thinking about the end of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had that same thought.
Yeah. And he's like, "I want you to know that whenever I imagine myself happy, it's with you." And you're like, "What?" And
This drove me crazy.
With you and Ben. And he's like, I'm not asking for anything. I just want to let you know. And she's like, I want that. Like, clearly she still likes him. And she's like, why don't you come inside? Like, we'll have a beer and we'll talk about it. And he's like, no, I have to go. And she's like, you can't just, like, drop a bombshell like that and then leave. And he's like, I'm sorry, I have to go. Things are going to get really crazy in the next few days. It's going to get worse. But don't worry, the people I'm going to go see, I'm going to make sure that you guys are safe for you and your son. And she's like, what are you doing? And she starts, like, crying. And he hugs her and gives her, like, a kiss on the cheek. And then he leaves. And the episode ends.
Fuck.
And you're like, oh, God, Dean's suicide era. Oh, fuck.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here's my problem. This is a really good... Here's my issue with this scene. This is a really good scene for Dean. I think it shows a lot of his character development, even though he's slipping back into suicide era. But, like, it's a really good scene for Dean. I just am like, okay, they hooked up, what, like, twice? And they're trying to make it seem like she's his fucking soulmate he thinks about before he goes and kills himself.
Yeah, but I have I actually do have something to say to that.
Okay.
One thing, low-key, it should have been Cassie.
Yep.
But they can't have a black woman on this show be doing that. It should have been Cassie. I'll maintain that. However, I do think there is something to be said about Dean where he has never had a normal life. He has always had the idea of a normal life in his head of what that would be. Mm-hmm. And Lisa fit all of these boxes of what his normal life would be like. And she has the kid who's so much like him. And she is so, like, pretty and stable and nice and has it and understands his history and is, like, cool with him.
Yeah.
So I think that there's something to be said about how even though they only knew each other for a short time and then were able to sort of reconnect, I think when they reconnected, it was almost like wow, we've both grown so much. Like, how crazy would it be if we kept doing that and kept growing and we were together? And I could see a world where Dean gets to know this idea of her as opposed to really knowing her. And we see this later on.
That is exactly what happens.
Yeah, and we will, because that's a big plot. Lisa does come back in a very major way. But I think that this plays into Dean in canon, but also if you're doing, like, a queer reading of Dean.
Let's talk about it.
He has this idea of what masculinity is like, of what
his life should be.
What his life should be.
Oh.
And it's with a woman like Lisa. Yeah. And it's with a woman like Lisa who has a kid. And he also, I think the other thing about Dean too, and why I think he sees that with Lisa and with Ben, is because I think the idea of fatherhood is deeply scary to him because of his relationship with his father. So I think I can totally get why he would visualize her as being perfect for him.
His idea of happiness is a home where he can provide the father relationship and the stability to a kid that he wasn't able to provide to Sam.
Yeah.
I made myself sad.
Yeah. No, it's I'm like shocked at how well conceived this episode was. Like, I'm like, this is not normal for Supernatural to have an episode this well put together. God. Even though, again, I'll maintain it should have been Cassie, but God forbid a black woman does anything.
Yeah. Also, in the trivia for this episode, yes, this is the 99th episode, so it's called 99 Problems, but also it's called that because I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one, because in this one, a bitch is their problem. So that's like the whole thing.
But I don't know. I'm just shocked at how good this episode was.
Also, apparently this town appeared before in the episode Salvation. It was the location of Pastor Jim Murphy where he was killed by Meg.
Damn! This shit is popping off!
Damn!
But I don't know. I think also, like, this was a really good Sam episode.
Yeah.
Because it kind of shows how far Sam has come of being like, okay, like, I'm back in the fight and I'm feeling confident. Like, I'm the one who has faith that we're going to be able to do this. Because I feel like so much has happened to Sam and happened around Sam that it's like, he doesn't have the opportunity to sort of process and, like, actually have an idea of, like, what do we want to do in a broad sense.
Yeah.
Like, he's finally getting an opportunity to almost, like, be a leader and be like, I'm the one who's going to take point on this and be the one who says, like, we need to do good.
Yeah. Yep.
it's tough because I think Sam, despite all of like the stuff that's happened to him, he has like an unabashedly good moral compass.
Yeah.
Like
that's why he was always my favorite. Like before
Yeah.
I was like, Dean's my Pookie, you know?
I think, and it's also like, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that Dean isn't a good person, because that's not what I mean. I think he is.
Yeah.
And I think he cares very much about people. But I think that Sam is just more of an idealist.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to see that when it's like, okay, something bad isn't actively happening to him, he's able to engage with like the case. I don't know. I really liked how he was in this episode.
Both of these episodes have the return, much like last time, both of these episodes have the return of some crazy fucking characters. Because we had Lisa in this episode, and then next episode, Jesus fucking Christ.
We have an insane pull.
An insane pull.
Yeah. No, it is crazy. The characters that are like coming back, it's just like, what the fuck is going on? There's so many people in these episodes that you're like, I never thought I was seeing your ass again.
It's giving very Avengers Endgame, except for then the show doesn't end.
This is like Avengers Endgame, but if it was just like really bad for the Winchesters.
I mean, that is Avengers Endgame, to be fair.
No, okay, so explain that. How was Avengers Endgame bad for the Winchesters?
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, okay.
They were in it. They came through the portals.
They got, oh god, Sam got snapped and Dean didn't. Oh,
someone needs to edit that they're gonna be in Avengers Doomsday in those fuck-ass chairs.
So true. Oh my god. Jensen Ackles will return as Dean Winchester in Avengers Endgame.
Jensen Ackles will return as both Dean Winchester and Soldier Boy.
Oh my god, they're fighting in his body.
They should kiss.
Wait.
I bet that fanfiction exists.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure a lot of it does. Which one of them do you think is the alpha and which one's the omega?
Well, considering I haven't okay, here's the problem. I haven't watched The Boys, but I know Dean Winchester is the omega.
Yeah. Why did I even ask that?
I don't know if that makes Soldier Boy an alpha though. I just haven't seen the show. When I watch The Boys, I'll come back with a detailed report.
Fuck.
This one's a heavy one. This one, I feel like a lot happened in this episode, but it's
like one after another, like, oh my god, not enough slices.
It's like there's like horrible family trauma. Bobby's there, Cass is there, there's crazy Destiel scenes. There's a crazy scene where I was like, oh my god, okay.
There is a top 10 moments in Destiel in this episode, like Lazarus rising level episode.
Toxic Yowie is happening live.
We'll get there. We can't get into it now.
Yes. Okay. We start. We're at a bar. There's a guy sitting there. He has on this like white button-down shirt. His tie's a little loose, and he walks up to a jukebox. It's like this old-fashioned dive bar style. It's very weird. And there's like a song from the 50s playing. It's crazy. He sits down. He gets a whiskey, and he leans over. There's a guy sitting next to him, and he goes, pink slip. And who responds? But Zachariah, as portrayed by Kurt Fuller, who says, oh, that obvious, huh? And Stuart's like, yeah, man, like, totally get that. Like, takes one to know one. And Zachariah's like, yeah, you know, it's like all they care about upstairs is the bottom line, and they cut everyone else loose, you know? All I did was, like, I wasn't able to get one simple little yes to close the deal of the millennium. But now I'm stuck, quote, down on the ground in the mud, nose to nose with you pig filthy humans, end quote. The other guy's like, yeah, wait, pig filthy what? And Zachariah just kind of moves on, and this guy's like, right, okay. And Zachariah asks his name, and he's like, oh, my name's Stuart. And he's like, and I'm Zach. And they shake hands, and they're just kind of chatting. Clearly, Zachariah's talking about heaven, and this guy's talking about his corporate bullshit job that he got fired from. And it's really funny. Zachariah's like, so what do you think you're going to do now? And Stuart's like, I don't know, maybe something with the internet. And Zachariah's like, oh, really? Huh, that's really interesting. And then suddenly everything starts shaking. And Stuart's like, oh my God, is it an earthquake? And Zachariah's like, no, it's my boss. And as we have seen in the past with angels, there's this loud noise, this horrible sound, and everything's shaking. The glass is shattering. Stuart and this bartender, both their like ears start bleeding. They're covering their ears. Their eyes start burning out. It's crazy. They're like passing out, whatever. And Zachariah's standing there like, okay, if you're gonna do it, just do it. It's fine. I understand. Like he's thinking he's about to get smited. Smote? We may never know.
How does one conjugate the verb smite? Smote, smoted, smited,
Smout.
smout?
Ain't that the bitch from The Hobbit? Anyway.
Now, don't get too close, because that's Benedict Cumberbatch. At the end of the day, we come back to Super Hulak. We can't do that.
Oh my God, don't. We're doing so well on not.
There's another Super Hulak ass moment in this episode that
don't.
Fuck.
So Zachariah's like, yeah, take me. Wait, what? Yeah, yes, of course. Thank you. I won't let you down. And the light fades and he looks around and he's like giddy. He just got his job back. He's like, yippee! Back to the old grind, boys. When the saints go marching in, and he walks out, and I'm like, and musical number, okay. If you'll recall, in the last episode, Dean drove off and was like, goodbye. So, I'm just gonna blanket trigger warning for this entire episode for talks of suicide, right? That's just a big thing in this episode. So, Dean is alone in this motel room. He's drinking crazy style, and he takes off his jacket and he folds it up and he puts it in a box and he takes his keys and he grabs his gun, the handgun that we've seen him have forever, and he sits down and he writes this long note and he puts it all in this big box and he closes it and tapes it shut, and we see that it is addressed to Robert Singer. And it's like, oh God, Dean's gonna kill himself. Like, that's what he's writing a suicide note, right? So,
writing your suicide note on the motel stationery, like, it's dark. So Dean then pours another drink and he's like, all right, fuck. And then suddenly behind him, Sam says, sending someone a candygram. And Dean jumps up and is like, Jesus, like, how'd you get here? And Sam's like, yeah, okay, well, it wasn't that hard to figure out the stops on your farewell tour. How's Lisa, by the way? And Dean's kind of like waffling around, and Sam's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I can't believe that you just walked away. And Dean's like, okay, well, all you've ever done is run away. Like, that's all you ever do is you leave. And Sam's like, yeah. And every single time I did that, I was wrong. You need to not do this. Like, Bobby has been working on something and it's gonna solve everything. And Dean's like, okay, yeah, what's Bobby working on that I haven't already heard? Tell me quickly. What's gonna work? We have nothing. And Sam's like, okay, well, I'm gonna stop you. I'm not gonna let you do this. And Dean sighs. He's like, okay, do it. Okay, like, I'm ready. Do it. Stop me. But, I don't know if you'll be able to, because, you're not all hopped up on demon blood. And Sam's like, yeah. But this time, I brought help. And then, who appears suddenly? Cass. Dean turns around. Cass touches his forehead, and suddenly they're back at Bobby's place. They said, I got you, Pookie. That was funny as hell. I'm sorry.
He said, never kill yourself.
Never kill yourself, Pookie.
So they're back at Bobby's place, and Dean's obviously embarrassed. He's like kind of pacing back and forth. And he's like, okay, like, I don't think you guys are understanding that, like, literally there is no solution here. like, Michael is kind of the best option because he can kill the devil and save a lot of people. Like, he will save people. He will save more people than if, like, Lucifer wins. And Bobby's like, okay, but he will kill a lot of people also. Like, he is not going to be able to save everyone. And Dean's like, okay, yeah, sure. But if Lucifer shows up and he's, like, in charge, he will kill everybody. And I could have stopped at least some of that by saying yes. So that's on me. And I can't, like, live with that. And Bobby's like, please, please don't give up. And Dean's like, well, you're not my father and you ain't in my shoes. And Bobby has the most, like, it's like gut-wrenching.
I would say Dean says some pretty insane lines to a lot of people. He says something pretty insane later to Sam. This line, I was like, don't you dare talk to Bobby like that. I don't care.
No. And Bobby looks so hurt for a second. And then, this is another, the acting in this episode's so good, but he pulls out his gun and he puts it on the desk that he's sitting behind. And he takes this huge bullet out of his pocket and he puts it down and he just sits there. And Dean's like, okay, what is that? And Bobby's like, well, this is the bullet that I intended for myself. And every morning I wake up and I look at it and I think maybe today is the day. But I can't do it. You know why? Because I promised you I wouldn't give up. Which was, if y'all remember, the episode where Dean got really old because of that gambling game. And he made Bobby promise he wouldn't give up.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Actions have consequences. Ooh. And then suddenly, Dean is looking real embarrassed for a second. And then suddenly Cass is like, ugh! And has a horrible, like, he gets this, like, horrible headache. And Sam's like, oh my God, like, are you okay? And he's like, something's happening. And Dean's like, what do you mean? Where's something happening? And Cass has disappeared. And this is actually kind of awesome. Cass is really cool in this episode. He does have some flop Tina moments, but he's in a forest.
I defend Pookie.
That's fair. Oh, yeah. Listen, I'm defending him, but he's suddenly in a forest. And he's, like, looking around. He's walking through the shrubbery. And he's like, something's not right. Something's not right. And we notice that a bunch of trees have fallen over. And they've all fallen in the same direction. And if you'll recall, the last time we saw this happen was in Lazarus Rising when Dean got brought back by an angel. And Cass is like, okay, something weird is happening. And he notices that there's, like, a patch of wet earth in the middle. And it's almost bubbling, like there's something trying to get up out from under it. And he walks over and he goes to help whatever is trying to get up, or at least see what's going on. And then suddenly another angel shows up and starts trying to kill him, and it has an angel blade. And Cass starts fighting back, and then another one shows up, and Cass has this actually pretty awesome scene where he fights both of them off. And then he's like, okay, Mama, we gotta investigate. So he jumps back down, and a hand shoots up from the ground. And he pulls this person out, and he looks at him, and we don't really see who the person is. But next thing we know, we're back in Bobby's living room, and he puts this person who's covered in mud down on the couch, right? And Bobby's like, Sam and Dean look over and are like, whoa. And Bobby's like, wait, who is that? And Sam's like, that's our brother. And we cut, and it's Adam. Adam, the child that John Winchester left behind and then visited and, would seemed to have a very interesting relationship with, where he would take him to baseball games and shit.
And this is the real Adam, because Adam that we saw before was actually a monster pretending to be Adam. Yeah. And also this will be the second Winchester that Castiel ripped out of the ground. Literally.
Yeah. To be fair, he low-key helped Adam a little more than he helped Dean, because when Dean was on the ground, he said, fend for yourself.
Yeah. But
he's like, you gotta climb out
so
yourself. They just weren't close like that yet.
Honestly, the number of cameos just in the past 4 episodes is insane. Like,
Yeah,
what do you mean? We got Pamela, we got Ash, we got Lisa,
That is
we got
true.
Adam, we got, who was in the episode before that? We got a lot of people.
I don't
We got a
recall,
lot of
but I
people.
know. We had Ellen and Joe just recently too.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
We need Rufus. You know, we need Sterling K. Brown back. What the fuck was his name? Gordon? We need Gordon back.
I miss Gordon.
Can we get his? He probably costs too much now.
Yeah, and good for him.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he never comes back to Supernatural. That would be horrible. As if there's more Supernatural. Well, there's
listen,
always
Supernatural season 16 is coming. The voices in my head are telling me it's coming.
And we will see more of Rufus, and we'll see more of do we see Ellen and Joe again?
No, I don't think so.
Damn.
So, okay. So T. So the boys are like, girl, why the fuck is Adam here? And Cass is like, and I think this was like, there was like a commercial break. I think this may have been where the intro was, like the Supernatural. So anyway, Cass is like, yeah, why the fuck? I have no idea why they would bring him back. This is insane. However, they cannot find him. So he reaches out, touches Adam's forehead, and does the same sigil carving he did on Sam and Dean on their ribs to hide them, or to hide him. Oh, they, them, Adam? Okay, he, they.
Considering what we know happens later with Michael, yeah, they, them.
That is actually true. But suddenly Adam like shoots up and is like, what the fish? Dean is like, okay, this is gonna sound crazy, but we're your brothers. And Sam's like, yeah, we're also John Winchester's sons. You know, I'm Sam, and this is, and he goes, yeah, you must be Dean. Where the hell's Zachariah? And they're both like weirded out. Like, what the fuck? How do you, because Adam never met them. We cut a little bit. Adam has clearly wiped some of the dirt off. He's got a clean pair of clothes. And the squad is like, okay, so what do you remember? And Adam's like, okay, so T, I was actually in heaven. And I was making out with this girl who I really liked. And Dean's like, did you get to third base?
Dean,
and I'm like, right, thank you.
Come on, dude. Come on.
And Adam's like, okay, anyway. Yeah, I was just chilling, and then a bunch of angels showed up and were like, I'm chosen. And Dean's like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean you're chosen? And he's like, I don't know, some archangel needs to kill the devil. And I'm the one that, like, I need to be, I don't know, I'm important to it. And Dean's like, what archangel? And he's like, oh, his name is Michael. I'm his, like, his sword or vessel or something. I don't really know, but it's important that I do this. And Dean's like, what the fuck? Because obviously Dean is the sword. Dean is the vessel. Like, we've already established that. But Cass is like, okay, actually this kind of makes sense. Because Adam is in the bloodline and he is Sam's brother. So, as dumb as that is, it could be possible. And I mean, if they think, and he says very, very, like, very upset. He's like, well, you know, if they wrongly assumed that you would be able to withstand them, it makes sense that they would be scrambling for another option.
It's so,
and
they say in such a dirty way. Also,
I think this is where Dean says, blow me, Cass.
Yeah, he says it in like a mad way, but you're like, oh.
Yeah, and you're like, do it.
Oh, yeah. Also, this is also, I think, in this scene where they say, oh, and you're going to let Michael use you like a Muppet. And I thought, am I a Michael or am I a Muppet?
Oh, wow.
And I thought we have to call the episode, am I Michael or am I Muppet?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's really challenging.
Yeah.
Klaudia did text me. She was like, I already have the episode title. And I was, no offense, expecting something a little funnier.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
No,
I'm just kidding. It can be the title.
I'm so
if
sorry.
this is the title, it means I gave into woke.
I just every part of this scene is insane. It's like one after the other. It's like we're talking about Adam. We're saying blow me Cass. And here's the thing. Blow me Cass isn't even the only thing that he says in this episode.
No, he does something way crazier.
He says something way more insane later.
So they're having this conversation, right? And it's like fucked up. Cause like they're all confused. They were all weirded the fuck out. But I also like that this is like Cass is finally like he's standing up to them but is still on their side. And it's just a very interesting dynamic as opposed to like when Cass and them like didn't get along last season.
Yeah. Also, Adam is actually really fun. And the ways that he is like Dean, I need to say it now.
It's really weird.
It's really weird, but it's also,
I mean, it's good.
They get to a scene like where Sam tries to like relate to him, whatever, and he's like, I had to basically raise myself because my mom worked nights, whatever, and I realized that like him and Dean are so similar because they had to raise themselves.
Yeah. And I also think Jake Abel is just doing a really good job at playing this part. Like,
yeah. Also, R.I.P. to the Percy Jackson movies, but he was a good Luke Castellan. I'll say it. He was. He was.
I forgot that was him. Oh my god.
Adam and Luke Castellan, man.
Damn. So Sam is like, that's kind of insane, right? Like, they talk all this bullshit and they're always talking about destiny and stuff, and then suddenly they have a plan B. That ain't right. That's not right. That's not Christian. And Adam's like, okay, that's like cute and all, and I'm having such a good time at this family reunion, but I like actually do have somewhere to be, so I'm gonna go. And Sam's like, whoa, where are you going? And he's like, oh, to go be the vessel. And Sam's like, okay, Adam, the angels are lying to you. And Adam's like, no, they're not, dude, they're angels, they're not lying to me. And Sam's like, oh, okay, did they tell you that they were going to like destroy the planet and kill a bunch of people because there's no like perfect solution, like everyone's gonna be fighting and it's gonna be a bunch of bullshit? And Adam's like, okay, I mean, they said some things might go wrong, might go sideways because they're fighting, the devil. Like, we gotta stop him, right? And Sam's like, okay, yes, but we're working on another way. And he's like, okay, what's that? What's your other way? And Sam's like, And
Dean is like, well, we were working on the power of love and friendship, but
yeah, we were working on the power of love and friendship, but so far we've been drawing strikes on that. And Sam's like, oh my god, okay, ignore him, he's an asshole. I just need you to give me some more time. And Adam's like, okay, I don't actually know you, so like, I'm gonna listen to the angels on that. Why should I listen to you? And Sam's like, he thinks for a second, he goes, because we're blood. And Adam's like, you don't have a right to say that to me. John Winchester was not my dad. He was just a guy who showed up and took me to a baseball game once a year. No, I don't have a dad. You know what? We may be blood, but my mother is my family. And if I do this, they told me that I'm going to get to see her again. And I care about her and not you. So fuck off. And Sam's like, okay, like, I totally understand that. But if you have like one good memory of our dad, you will give us more time. Which is like an insane thing to say. I'm like, Sam, there's so many different ways that you could have gone about trying to convince him. This is probably the worst one.
Also, like, one good memory of dad, it's John Winchester. I'm sure he doesn't have one.
Yeah. But I guess in the end, he relents. And he's like, okay.
I guess.
And it's a little later in the evening. Bobby is in his office. Adam is eating the most disgusting looking like ham and cheese sandwich. And he sees that the door is like unguarded and Bobby has his back turned. So he gets up and Adam's like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here. And as he goes to open the door, where are you off to? And it's Sam, and he's caught him. Much like he caught Dean trying to kill himself earlier. And Adam's like, oh, I was going to get a beer. And Sam's like, oh, we have beer here. Here, sit down. And Adam's like, okay, you can pretend that you're just trying to get to know me or whatever, but I know that I'm, like, on lockdown. Like, I know I'm not allowed to leave. Sam hands him a beer, and he's like, okay, I know that this is going to sound stupid, but Dad was actually trying to protect you. And Adam's like, oh, right, well, the monster that ate me didn't get the memo. Because, if you'll recall, he did get eaten by a monster originally. That's how he died. And Sam's like, oh, you remember that? And he's like, yeah, I actually do remember it very well. And Sam's like, okay, I'm sorry about that. But, you know, maybe he wasn't just protecting you from the monsters because, and this is actually kind of awesome, but he's like, you know, if there was one thing worse than seeing Dad once a year, it was seeing him all year.
No, because that's what makes his next sentence, he says that, and then he immediately says the thing about, well, if you have at least one good memory with him. I'm like, no, walk that back, because you were correct. Having to see him all year is the problem.
I know he said that, and Adam was like, okay, so you're switching it up. What's the truth?
Yeah, like,
okay, sis. Okay, go off, I guess.
I'm like, wait, yeah, keep ragging on John, actually.
Yeah. So Adam's like, okay, well, that's a load of bullshit, because you know what? It was just me. I would have loved to have seen my fucking dad more, but it was me and my mom, and I love my mom. I do, but she worked a graveyard shift at the hospital. I had to cook my own meals. I put myself to bed. You can say whatever you want about him, but I would have taken anything. And Sam's like, okay, if we had, like, I didn't know that you existed. If we had known that you existed, and he's like, oh, what would you have done? And he's like, we would have come to find you. And, like, you know, maybe going forward we can, and Adam's like, no. We're not doing this whole, like, family thing. Like, oh, we're all gonna go to Wally World. Like, that's some bullshit. And Sam pauses, and he's like, you know what? You'd fit in around here. Because it's crazy. It's crazy how much Adam is giving Dean in this scene. Like, just the way he moves and talks and is.
And Sam is realizing it in real time. He's like, oh, it's so... Yeah. And also these moments where Sam gets to be the big brother.
Yeah.
My heart is breaking. It's breaking. Uh-oh, you can hear my heart. It's breaking.
So speaking of Dean,
oh.
you may be wondering, my dear listener, where's Dean? Wasn't he trying to kill himself? Yes, and for that reason, he's on lockdown in Bobby's panic room.
At least once, like every other episode in this season, somebody's in that fucking locker bunker panic room.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And Cass is standing in front of it. He's standing like a sentinel. He's like, my man will not stray on my watch. Sam goes up and he's like, hey, Cass, can you please go watch Adam? I have to check in with Dean. And they open the door and they're both kind of staring him down. Dean's sitting in there like, well, fuck me, I guess. So Dean's in there and he looks up at them and Cass is like looking at him and he goes, you know, Cass, the last person who looked at me that way got laid. And then Cass Cass kind of scowls at him and then Dean like winks at him and then Cass goes upstairs.
Like, what the fuck?
No, that was so... Why did he do that?
Say that?
Well, he was like, I'm gonna die anyway. I might as well shoot my shot. I know that's not what's happening. I know from a real perspective, if we look at a writer's perspective, it was like, haha, it'll be funny. But
what the fuck?
As someone who knows the truth of Destiel, don't play with me, boy.
Like, what the fuck?
Don't Jeremy Carver, don't play with me. Don't say stupid shit. So yeah, that was, wowza. So, anyway, Sam and Dean are now in the panic room. And Dean's like, okay, so do I really need to stay in here? This feels crazy. And Sam's like, okay, everybody here is a flight risk. And Dean's like, no. Adam's here, right? And we can't let him become a vessel. And Sam's like, well, yeah, no shit. But you can't do it. Like, no, this is not like a one or the other situation. Like, it's not happening for either of you. And Dean's like, okay, Sam, let's think about it. Because Adam's here. How many people have we gotten killed? Mom, Dad, Jess, Joe, Ellen. I could go on. We cannot let Adam be one of those. And Sam's like, okay, to be fair, that we didn't actually cause those people's deaths. And Dean's like, okay, we might as well have. And then he says, I am so tired of fighting who I'm supposed to be.
This isn't
what the fuck, man?
I'm so tired
what the fuck, man?
The queer coding sometimes it's like laughably obvious.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like the writers, they're just too stupid to get it.
God,
but I know the show better than they do.
Fuck.
But Sam's like, okay, and you know what? Cool. I'm sorry you feel that way, but you can't keep sacrificing yourself. Can you please just stop for once? We can stick together. We can fight this. And Dean's like, you know what? No, because we always say this and it always goes wrong. And I don't know whether it's going to be demon blood or some other demon chick or whatever, but I do know they're going to find a way to turn you. And we're going to be falling apart again. And Sam's like, oh, so you don't think I'm strong enough? And Dean's like, no, you're just angry and you're self-righteous. And Lucifer, quote, Lucifer is going to wear you to the prom, man. It's just a matter of time. Sam is like, I can't believe you. Like, I can't believe you would say that. And Dean's like, yeah, I don't want to. But, like, when that happens, the only thing that can happen is, like we would fight, right? And I don't want to have to do that. So, like, he's basically making the argument that, like, if he goes with Michael, then they can stop Lucifer before he gets to Sam, therefore potentially sparing Sam and Dean sacrificing himself for more people to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's dark. Sam storms out. He slams the door. He's like, I'm not doing this right now. He goes upstairs. Cass and Bobby are hanging out with Adam. And Bobby's like, how's he doing? And Sam just kind of looks at him. He doesn't say anything. And then Bobby's like, how are you doing? And Sam doesn't say anything, but clearly not well. And then what's crazy is in this conversation, Cass sees oh, Dean is having an issue. I'm going back downstairs to check on him. But I think it's also because at first I was like, oh my God, he's going to check on him. And then I remembered that he was just guarding the door. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
But I have Yowie goggles on. So to me, he said, oh, it didn't work with Sam. Maybe I'll try.
You guys should fuck in that fucking bunker.
Yeah, nobody else is doing it.
Yeah. Also, in this conversation with Sam and Dean, he also says something. He says, I don't believe in you.
Yeah,
to Sam,
Dean says that to Sam.
Which is so fucking insane. Because
Dean, one thing about Dean is that even when he is mad at Sam, even when he's like, oh, you have had this issue, like, I think still deep down he always has had faith in Sam. That, like, you know, despite, like, again, it's like the whole demon blood thing. He wasn't even mad about the demon blood. He was mad that Sam lied to him about it. I mean, he was a little mad about the demon blood.
Yeah.
But, like, he gets upset that Sam is doing shit. But I don't think Dean ever faltered in thinking that Sam wants to be good and Sam wants to do the right thing. It's just that his methods can be kind of insane. So him being like, I've lost faith in you is kind of crazy. So Cass goes downstairs and he hears like this like sound. And it sounds like broken glass. And he's like, Dean? And he walks out and he looks in through the little window and he sees a chair knocked over and like a broken lamp, I think. And he opens the door and he's like, Dean? And Dean's like, hey girl. And what's on the wall? It's that fuck-ass Enochian sigil that you draw with the blood, then sends the angels back to heaven. And Dean presses it, and Cass disappears. And then Dean breaks out. And what's crazy to me is that, to my understanding, this sigil sends them back to heaven, right? That was what we had established. Because Cass is like a fugitive right now. So that's like, I mean, I think the show doesn't function on its own logic because Cass shows up later and it doesn't seem like he was fighting his way out. But to me, I'm like, with the knowledge that we know, you would think Dean is basically sending him straight to angel jail.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I guess the assumption is that he like bounced off the walls of heaven because he doesn't have the clearance code, so they just sent him somewhere random. But like, it doesn't make any sense.
No, because also then he would just come back. Like, yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
So Dean like sneaks out, and you see him grab his jacket and climb out through like the cellar entrance. Then I think there was a commercial break here, if my memory serves. Because the next cut is Sam, like, coming upstairs and talking to Bobby, and he's like, okay, he's gone. Cass is gone, too. He totally sent his ass away using that sigil. I'm pissed. Bobby, you need to watch Adam. Adam's sleeping right now. He's like, you need to watch Adam. I'm gonna go find Dean. And Bobby's like, okay, but if he tries to run, like, he's got a bit of an advantage on me because, you know, I'm newly in a wheelchair. Sam was like, I don't know, chain him up. Just do something. I have to go find Dean. So he goes... And we see that Adam is sleeping, and we look inside of his dream. And he is at this playground, and there's this, like, gold filter on it, and it looks all nostalgic. And he's sitting on a bench, and suddenly, who is next to him but Zachariah? And he's like, you know, she's not coming. Your mother? Not yet, at least. And Adam's like, oh, you must be Zachariah. And he's like, yeah, and you weren't where I was expecting to find you. I bet you got some wards, right? And Adam's like, yeah. And he's like, let me take a guess. Is it Sam and Dean? You cannot trust them. And Adam's like, yeah. And Zachariah can kind of tell that Adam is pissed off at Sam and Dean, but is like low-key listening to them a little bit. And Zachariah's like, no. I'm nipping that in the bud. That's not happening. They are, quote, psychotically, irrationally, erotically codependent on each other. What the fuck does that mean?
I had to pause the show.
What the hell, man?
First you make out with their mother. Next you imply they're erotically codependent on each other. Get some help. No wonder I haven't fired you, you fucking freak. Weirdo.
I'm sorry, though. I'm not gonna lie. Zachariah is funny as hell. Like, I'm
never. No, he's funny as shit.
I love him. He's so, God. But Adam's like, okay, and that's neither here nor there. Weird. You know, they told me some stuff about you too. And Zachariah's like, well, just so you know, they don't really give a fuck about you. They're not gonna care. Like, when if something were to happen to you, they wouldn't give a fuck. They would rather save each other than save the entire planet. Do you understand? They are not your family. Do you want to see your mom again or not? And Adam looks like he's thinking about it. And then suddenly he wakes up. If you'll recall, one of the things that the angels had done was tell, like, people who are, like, street preachers and, like, religious very religious people to be on the lookout for Sam and Dean. So recall that. There's this guy, he has a Bible, he's standing on the side of the road, he's like, the end is nigh, the apocalypse has come, it's time for us to, like, pray for our salvation, whatever. Dean walks up to this guy, and he goes, hey, I'm Dean Winchester, do you know who I am? And the guy is like, oh my gosh, like, he falls to his knees, he's ready to, like, pray at Dean's feet, and he's like, can you please let the angels know where I am? And he starts saying the Lord's Prayer. He's like, God in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And then suddenly someone grabs Dean, and Cass is there. And he goes, you pray too loudly. And he knocks this guy, this preacher, out. Like, he touches him and uses his angel powers to knock him out. And he pulls Dean into an alley and starts to, like, beat the shit out of him. And I'm gonna read you some of the quotes he says. And this is like as he's like pummeling him. And there's a scene whenever he talks, he pushes him up against a wall and says this into Dean's face. And
if you've ever seen a gif of Destiel, you have seen a gif from this moment, okay?
Mm-hmm. And he says, I rebelled for this so you could surrender to them. I gave everything for you, and this is what you give me? and Dean's struggling, and Cass throws him on the ground, and he goes, just do it. And Cass looks at him, and we see this scene of Dean on the ground, and we see Cass's back, and we see his fist slowly unclench. Then he reaches out to Dean, touches him on the shoulder, and knocks him out.
This scene.
What the fuck, man? What the fuck?
I think all of it for you. I did everything, all of it.
Not even.
I rebelled for you. Oh.
For you. Not even for the cause. For you guys. For you.
Also, like, this is the first, like, outward, like, anger and, like, big emotion from Castiel we've seen. And it's.
Yeah.
I have to say it. I have to say it now. Every BL manhwa with like the toxic alpha where is exactly like this, like watching the blueprint happen in real time.
Yeah, this is the kind of scene where you know that Cass is the alpha, and I know that,
absolutely.
Like, also, no, I'm sorry. It's so crazy to me too that like all of Cass's big emotions, like that he's kind of starting to feel as he's becoming like more and more human, are directed towards Dean.
Yeah,
and the fact too that he is. This is also like, you know, they've implied like, oh, you did it because of him, but it was always a like, I did it because, you know, he was there and that he was like kind of like the catalyst who helped me realize stuff. But him saying, I did this for you, not I did this because of you, I did it for you.
Oh God.
Fuck.
Like the delusion, like this is where the delusion began.
The delusion began long ago.
Well, the delusion began long ago.
But it's like,
can I say something? It's the, you know, the trope of like, he fell first, he fell harder. Well, Castiel fell first, and then Dean fell harder. This is the turning point when Dean went, wait. What?
Dean hearing that while also getting the shit beat out of him and being like, I'm feeling so many new emotions right now. Yeah. I can't examine that. I'm going to put that away for 10 years.
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm thinking about it, and like, for those of you who think I'm exaggerating the whole BL manhwa thing, there are specific shots of him looking down at him and Dean looking up at him like the most submissive Omega on the planet.
No, it's so, it's like, so crazy.
It's like textbook. Like,
fuck. I can't. Also, it's like, I'm sorry, watching two very handsome men beat each other up, well, one get pretty much thrashed by another. It was not a close fight. Also, Dean is a little suicidal, so he's like, whatever. He's letting himself get pushed around, but I was low-key like, why is this like, you know?
They went crazy. You're like,
why is this kind of steamy? This is a little spicy. What's the spice level in this episode of Supernatural? It's 4 peppers. Anyway.
Please, I can't with the 4 peppers. Oh God.
So,
the problem is I'm going to be thinking about I rebelled for you for the next...
Okay. Let's get matching Destiel tattoos that say that. That's a joke.
Jesus Christ.
So we cut. Sam is like, what do you mean Adam's gone? We're back at Bobby's place, and Bobby's like, well, I don't know. He woke up and suddenly he disappeared out of thin air. And at that moment, Cass reappears. Dean's arm is slung over his shoulder, and Sam's like, oh my God, like what happened to him? And Cass is like, me. Because he really beat the shit out of him. Like, Dean's like has injuries. And they're like, oh my God, like Adam's gone. And he's like, okay, angels probably took him. And they're like, okay, but like his ribs were branded. How the fuck would they find him? And Cass is like, okay, the only way that they would be able to find him is if Adam told them where he was. And I can only think of like that. It must have been a dream. And Sam's like, well, where would they take him? And then we cut. And do you guys remember at the end of season 4, they took Dean to this room that was like this gilded, beautiful room that had like all his favorite food and all that stuff in it, trying to get him to agree. Well, Adam's now there, and he's eating the cheeseburgers, and he has the beer, and Zachariah's like, oh, so you basically like you and Dean really are brothers, so you guys have a similar palate. And Adam's like, right, so when does Michael get here? And Zachariah's like, oh, ooh, so about that, your services are no longer required. And Adam's like, what? And he's like, so you are bait. You're bait. And Adam's like, wait. What do you mean I'm bait? And Zachariah's like, okay, so to be fair, like, we don't really care about you. You are the illegitimate half-brother of the guy we actually do care about.
I need to interject here because technically he's not the illegitimate half-brother because Mary was dead.
Well, but he's illegitimate because they weren't married. He was not married to.
I guess
he is not.
I guess.
I mean, he's operating on a very draconian idea of what a nuclear family looks like. But
I guess
I digress. He's like, yeah, we don't actually care about you. Basically, it's over. Like, you're not needed. I'm just gonna leave you here. And Adam's like, oh my god, you're a son of a bitch. And Zachariah's like, whoa. Are you serious? Like, I'm the one who has to put up with the stupid little look you have on your face right now, okay? I'm gonna be so real. We didn't have a choice. Sam and Dean, their blind spot, it's their family. They'll come rescue you, like, they totally care about you. And you know who's gonna show up and be in this room? Dean. And Adam's like, no, I'm not gonna let this happen. And Zachariah's like, shh, quiet. You'll get your severance. You'll see your mom when this is all done. And Adam's like, oh, and how do I know I can believe you now? And Zachariah's like, well. And then suddenly he kind of points at Adam, and Adam starts coughing up blood. And he's like, okay, that's better. Bye. And then we cut back to the bunker. Not to the bunker, to the panic room. Dean wakes up. He's handcuffed to, like, the cot. And Dean looks up at Sam, and he goes, word to the wise, don't piss off the nerd angels. And Sam's like, okay, well, the angels took Adam. And Dean is like, oh my god, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, Cass, did some research, and it's like super guarded. It's the same place you were, and if we try to rescue him, it's basically suicide. And Dean's like, okay, so what are we gonna do? And Sam's like, well, we're gonna go get him, and I'm gonna release you because I do not have any other options. We don't really have a lot of people who can fight right now, so you, me, and Cass are pretty much it. We can't really do this without you. And Dean's like, well, you realize that this is a trap, right? Like, they want me to be there so they can force me to say yes. Or, you know, if it's not a trap, I'm going to say yes anyway. Like, fair warning. I will do it. And Sam's like, no, you won't. When push comes to shove, you'll make the right call. And Dean's like, I don't, he doesn't know what to say. Sam lets him go, and Dean's like, you know, I would have let you rot in this panic room. I mean, hell, I have let you rot in this panic room. And Sam's like, yeah, well, I guess I'm not that smart. And Dean's like, okay, bullshit. Why are you actually letting me go? And Sam's like, well, because you're still my big brother. ugh. This episode is crazy.
This episode is insane.
Crazy.
No.
And there's still so much left. So much happens in this episode. Fuck. We're outside of this nasty shut down warehouse, and we notice there's like a palm tree and the sky's all blue, and they're on the outskirts, and Dean's like, so where's this room, this nice room? And Cass is like, it's in there, towards this nasty building. And Dean says the beautiful room is in an abandoned muffler factory in Van Nuys, California. And Cass is like,
this is, number one, calling it the beautiful room is weird. Number two, the implication was that it was kind of a metaphysical place or somewhere in heaven. You're telling me that it's just in some fucking warehouse in California? Like, this show doesn't make any fucking sense, okay?
But he's like, well, Dean actually points this out, because Cass is like, yeah, it's in Van Nuys. Where did you think it was going to be? And Dean's like, I don't know, Jupiter? A blade of grass? But Van Nuys? And Sam's like, okay, anyway, not the point. Why don't you just, like, jump in and grab Adam and then get out? And Cass is like, well, the tea is, and he starts taking his tie off. He's like, there's, like, 5 angels in there. The only way we are getting in is if I go in and fight them and then make a safe way for you guys to get in there and get him. And Dean's like, that could be a suicide mission. And Cass says, maybe it is, but then I won't have to watch you fail. Sorry, Dean, but I don't have the same faith in you that Sam does.
Another insane line.
Fuck.
Another crazy line.
Which is crazy, because Dean was like the only thing Cass had faith in, because he didn't have faith in God, he didn't have faith in heaven, he had faith in Dean, and now he's like, well, you fucking betrayed me, you stupid ass, and now I'm gonna die saving your brother.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And then Cass pulls out this, like, a box cutter out of his pocket, and Sam's like, what are you gonna do with that? Then we cut. Cass walks into the warehouse. I still don't really understand why Cass couldn't just appear in the room and take him.
I don't know.
But that would be too
it's because
easy.
it would make sense if it was a piece of heaven, but we know
it's not.
Also,
Yeah.
I have to say, it's kind of giving when they kept Captain America in that little shack, like in the staged place when he was being integrated back into the future.
Yeah,
it's
low-key.
literally exactly like that.
That's crazy. Do you think they stole that idea from Supernatural?
You know, no,
That's a
I can't.
joke. That would be hilarious though. I need a lawsuit now. So Cass walks into this warehouse and he's like, okay, I know you're here. Come on out. And one angel, who I believe is Jensen's stunt double, one angel shows up and
How do you know that?
I just read it as a piece of trivia.
Oh, okay.
He starts beating the shit out of Cass. And Cass is like fighting, holding his own, and he manages to kill him, uses the angel blade. And then he turns around and there's one behind him, and he turns around and there's another one, and there's 4 more around him. And he's like, all right. He throws his weapon on the ground, and this is very sexy of him. And he's like, what are you waiting for? Come on. So they start coming to attack him. He rips open his shirt, and with the box cutter, he has carved the Enochian, like, go away angel symbol on his chest. He puts his hand on it, and all of them disappear.
He kind of ate that. He ate that up.
If Dean was in the room, I think he would have been like, wait.
Yeah.
Hello, hey.
There's Superman and Lois Lane moment.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Think about it.
I mean,
Okay.
I didn't say it was wrong. I just said it's insane. We cut. Sam and Dean are outside the warehouse. They hear the angels getting banished. Dean runs in. He opens the door. And there's like this shed that's like inside of the building. Like a small room inside this big room. And he runs in and he pulls open the door. And he sees Adam. And he like runs up to him, and Adam's like, oh my God, you came for me. And Dean's like, yeah, of course, you're family. And Adam's like, it's a trap. And Dean's like, yeah. Zachariah shows up, and Sam isn't in the room. Like, the door closed. Zachariah's like, hey, girl, did you seriously think it was going to be that easy? And Dean's like, oh, did you? And Sam is in the room, and he runs up to stab Zachariah with an angel blade, but Zachariah turns around and, like, bitch slaps him across the room. And he's like, Dean, one thing I've learned since I've started dealing with the two of you is patience. And he does a little gesture, and Adam starts throwing up blood. And he's like, you know, I should have trusted my boss. I should have trusted the boss man. Things are playing out exactly how he said. You know, Dean, now it's really the time. You know, you and I, we're kind of the same, you know, working for the same guy. And, you know, we're just right here, standing between your hemorrhaging brothers. And Dean looks over. Sam's also spitting up blood. And Dean's like, okay, stop. Please stop hurting them. And he looks like really, really sad, like really heartbroken. And Zachariah's like, in exchange for what? And he's like, okay. Dean is like, damn it. Okay, please, I'll do it. And Zachariah's like, oh, what'd you say? I didn't hear you. And he's like, yes, okay, I'll do it. Sam looks over and he's like, no, Dean, like, don't. But he's also choking up blood. So, but Dean and him make eye contact. And Zachariah's like, okay. Han, can you promise you're not lying to me? And Dean's like, do I look like I'm lying? And he does not look like he's lying. And Zachariah kind of starts to smile, and he starts doing this chant to call Michael down. And Sam is still looking at Dean, and Dean looks over at him. And Dean gives him a little smile and a wink. And then Sam is like, oh, wait. And then Zachariah's like, Michael's on his way. And Dean's like, well, just so you know, I do have some conditions. And Zachariah's like, what now? And Dean's like, I want a couple people who I want to guarantee the safety of. So, does that sound good? And Zachariah's like, yeah, make a list. We'll make that work. Whatever. So I have your people talk to my people, basically. And Dean's like, oh, and the last thing, in order to get to me, Michael has to disintegrate you. And Zachariah's like, what? No, he wouldn't do that. And Dean's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna work for him until, I won't be his vessel until he turns you into a little chunk of coal. And Zachariah's like, don't you know who I am? And he's like, yeah, you're expendable. I'm more important to Michael than you are. And he's like, oh, you little bitch, like, you are a maggot inside of a worm's ass. He starts threatening him. Zachariah gets up in his face. And he's like, Michael's not gonna kill me. And Dean's like, yeah, maybe not, but I am. And he pulls out an angel blade that he had hiding in his sleeve and shoves it up through Zachariah's, like, under his chin, up through the top of his head. And he has this gratuitous, long grace flying out of him. His eyes are glowing. His mouth is open, all this stuff. And he falls back onto the floor, and the big ash angel wings appear behind his body. And Dean's like, okay, T. Michael starts showing up, and Dean runs over. He grabs Adam. He's like, okay, like, are you good? Can you walk? And Adam's like, yeah, get Sam. So Adam gets up. Sam is worse off than Adam. He's fucked up. Dean runs over, grabs Sam, and starts, like, pulling him out of the room. And he's like, Adam, come on. Dean and Sam leave. The door closes and disappears, and Adam is trapped inside. Adam's shouting for them to come get him. And suddenly, the room turns completely white. Dean turns around, pulls open the door, or tries to pull open the door. It doesn't open. He tries to do it again, and the doorknob is, like, hot. It burns him. And he's telling Adam, he's like, hold on, we'll get you out. And then we see Adam's eyes. He has this moment of calmness and then shuts his eyes. And from the outside, the glow goes away. Dean rips open the door, and it's just like this nasty abandoned office that would make more sense in this room or in this warehouse. Adam's gone, and so is the beautiful room.
And I have to say, it was bigger on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you motherfucker.
I had to say it.
Fuck you.
I was waiting, but also the fact that
I'm mad as hell.
This is the first, but not the last time that they will have to leave Adam behind.
That's one thing they're really good at doing with Adam.
Yeah, like forgetting he exists a
peace
lot.
and love.
Yeah.
Adam, you deserve so much better.
I'm so sorry, King.
We cut. Sam and Dean are in their car driving, and they're just like in total silence. And then Sam is like, dang, like we lost Cass and Adam. We'll find them. Do you think they're okay? And Dean's like, I doubt it. And Sam's like, Dean, I saw your eyes before you winked. You were actually gonna say yes, and you changed your mind. What happened? And Dean's like, the world is ending, and I see you, and I thought, that stupid son of a bitch brought me here, and I didn't want to let you down. And Sam is like, well, I'm glad you didn't. And Dean's like, I'm sorry. And Sam's like, you don't have to apologize to me. And he's like, no, I just listen. I'm your brother. I'm your big brother, and I'm always going to see you as this snot-nosed little kid that I have to keep an eye on. But we're grown. That's not you. You're a grown-up. And if you have faith in me, the least I can do is return the favor. So, you know what? Screw destiny. Let's do it. Let's take the fight to them, and we're going to do it our way. And Sam's like, yeah, we are. That sounds good. And then the episode ends. Fuck, right?
We got Adam. We got top 10 moments in Destiel. It just keeps going.
You know what's so sad is the only thing I could think of is I was like, dang, I'm gonna miss Zachariah.
No, literally.
He does come back, but for like briefly in season, I think 13, but he's like from an alternate universe or something.
Yeah.
It's like one episode.
And you're like, oh my god, it's Zachariah. It's also wild because it's like, oh, so we can just kill bitches, except for Michael. Like, can't kill him with a special angel knife. But again, the internal logic of the show, don't think about it too hard.
Don't.
Also, why does Michael have to keep going through middle managers? Because Satan doesn't.
Know. Well, maybe because I guess Satan is like, I got better shit to do. Like, I got to bring about revelations. So, like, Michael, I feel like heaven is trapped by bureaucracy in this show.
And maybe that's the point.
Yeah,
that's the point.
That's the problem. We need to get all these unelected officials out of heaven. And we need to start by dismantle heaven because there's too many.
I'm calling in Doge.
We need to drain the swamp. Chuck needs to hire Doge. That's a joke, guys. That's a joke. No, but this episode was also just so good. And I'm just like, the ending of them finally being on like the same page is like so refreshing. Like, thank God.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that's like the whole point of the show is for there to be conflict. But I'm just
also...
like, thank God we're finally here. And it's crazy how much I was rooting for it too. Like, it was like, yeah, we're on the same page. Like, let's do this our way. And I was like, yes. Like I'm clapping like I didn't know what happened.
Like, yeah,
fuck. Guys, this show has like 4 more really good episodes.
And then that's it.
And then
we're never having fun ever again. So just strap in.
This is the best season 5 gets, and it never gets better from here. Like, I think this, because the season 5 finale is actually pretty good.
It's so good. It's so good.
And you'll have 2 more episodes of the Mysteries podcast, and before the big finale.
before. It's just episode after episode of me and you going, I have to kill myself.
And being like, oh my god, this shit sucks. So, guys, the Mystery Spotcast may have just left its heyday or entered its new heyday where those of you who like when you
the mystery hater cast.
We're the welcome back to the hater Spotcast.
Oh god.
It's about to get so dark in here, but let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the fact that we have so much positivity.
That scene of Destiel almost put me down a Destiel rabbit hole again. I almost went looking for fan fiction. It got dark. It's
so dark. No, because here's the problem. Every time after we record, I'm like, I need to read some Destiel fan fiction right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's dark. It's crazy how bad it sucks you in. That's like another thing is why I'm like, you shouldn't watch it. You should just listen to us. Not because I'm desperate for attention, which I am, but also because I'm like, if you listen to us, you won't get trapped with the urges that we have. Like, you won't, because the problem with Supernatural is that it tempts you to get sucked back in.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for listening. For more cursed Supernatural content, you can follow us on social media at Mystery Spotcast on Blue Sky, Tumblr, Instagram, and TikTok. You can also ask us cursed Supernatural questions in our Tumblr Ask Box, including all the things we asked for today. I'm expecting for all of you to do your homework. I will be checking next class, and if I see a single listener who has not filled out all of the required readings and required submissions, I am not going to be a happy camper. Yeah, and that's why you can send us your songs, etc., or at themysteryspotcast@gmail.com. Also, if you don't have a Tumblr account, I think you can still send us an ask, just by the way. Or maybe they took that away.
I think you still can.
I don't know.
You can email us.
Yeah. If you have not already, please check out Fight for the Future's master list of frontline organizations that you can support. It's a good place to start. It's for a lot of different issues, both domestically and abroad. The link is in our show notes, and we encourage you to share it with others. If you enjoyed listening to our extremely cursed recap, please make sure you rate and review the show. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Spotify also allows comments now, so you can, literally be chat. Leave us a comment on our YouTube channel and tell a friend about the show. We've been talking about Destiel fic. We always have that form if you ever want to recommend a Destiel fic to us. And we'll see you 2 Tuesdays from now for more slaying people, queer baiting things, the supernatural business.